Hey, up, sir. Hang in there. I'm just waiting for a friend to do a raid. Then I'm gonna introduce this game that I play and how to play it and how to roleplay, like a quick intro. What? Sorry. I'm also watching Professional Sad Girl right now. You should follow her, by the way. Hey, Vinny, how's it going, man? Yeah, I hope I have a nice stream too. I have a slight headache, so if you guys can hang in chat and try to support me, I really appreciate that, guys. But I had to, try to take this raid. You can't say no. So I got myself out of the couch and to the desk as soon as I could. Caleb had to get off early due to some issues. We are here now while Caleb rests. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I hope he's okay. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate that. Everyone is ill, says Benny. Oh, that sucks, man. Yeah, I have a headache. Semi also had a kind of a little bit of a cold. Yeah, a lot of people getting ill. I guess it's the season for colds, right? It's right on time actually. The cold virus is making its rounds everywhere. Noroi 2? Are you kidding? Holy crap, man. It's like everyone is getting sick. Like, no shit. You weren't kidding. So, if you want to try this place out, like, I'm waiting for my friend to finish up her stream. It's 13thrones.com. WordPress, you can just Google it, 13 Thrones Requiem. And you just get the main website. All right, trying to get some more people to join the stream from the Ultima world to maybe answer questions and stuff. He got COVID? Holy shit! I hope he's doing okay. It's spreading through the stream. I hope it's not spreading through the stream. That would suck. We need to put in some antivirus, Vinay. We need to do some modding on that. We need to stop the virus from spreading, man. I don't know. We can actually. That's a nice bet. Like when I start a bet pool about who's getting sick next. All right, so let me know if you have any questions about this game. I'll try to cover as many as I can. I'll do a full intro in a little while, in like a few minutes. But if you have any overall general questions, I'll let you know as well. I'll try to answer them. I mean, I'd probably say shrimp or creepy, but that's my guess. Okay, well that's a good bet. That's a good bet because shrimpy goes around a lot, you know. So my mind is on shrimp. Shrimp does a lot of shrimping. You know what I mean? He's always shrimping in the chat and getting Semi to yell his name. We'll share my McAfee keys on. Yeah, that's not my favorite antivirus, but sure. I guess we could do McAfee. Yeah. All right, guys, get ready to welcome our raiders because we're about to be raided. It's gonna be a big raid. I'm nervous. Yeah, Shrimp is an amazing guy, man. I really like Shrimp. We get along very well. Okay. Let's see. Oh, holy crap! Professional sad girl did raid us with 200 people. Please go and follow her. I already shouted her out, and oh shit, that's the wrong link. And I was trying to put her link up. If someone can put the link up in chat, please do. I'll shout her out again. Professional sad girl is an amazing person, and she's actually very. I didn't think about this before, but she's very fit to role-playing stuff like that because she has this kind of like theme on her channel that's very much kind of like, you know, into the mystical, into fantasy, and I didn't actually put one and one together. We were looking for someone to raid, so I was like, okay, might as well open the stream, even though I have a slight headache, so please bear with me. And I'm a newbie streamer, so I'm not a professional streamer. So, you know, if I'm a little too nervous, even though I'm a psychologist, you know, no one is above, like, you know, feeling stressed when you're talking to too many people at the same time. It's normal. Just focus on your breathing, right? I'm just gonna try to take my own advice over here. So I will introduce you guys to this world. It's a role-playing world called Requiem, 13 Thrones. And it's a very cool environment. It's very well written. If you are a kind of person who plays a lot of games and you're always looking after the storyline, give me better storyline, give me a deeper storyline, this is the place for you. I mean, I know the graphics are kind of a little bit more retro. You're gonna maybe, if you've never played Ultima Online before, you will need to get used to this. It's a different client. Think about it more like a retro kind of type of environment. Although the game client has been quite a bit updated, so maybe, I don't know, it's easier to play now. So this world is called 13 Thrones Requiem, and it's a role-playing world, and the theme is medieval grimdark role-playing. So it's a very kind of dark environment, and it's also a little bit what's that name? There's a particular kind of world where you have anti-heroes, so you can't actually be a hero in this world. And if you try to push your luck too much to be a hero, most likely what's going to happen is that your character is offed by either, you know, a big monster out there, a big beast, or another player who's like, who are you? What do you think you can play a hero in our world? You have to be humble here and just hope that you might survive. Actually, let me zoom that in so it's easier to read. So Requiem is one of the last role-playing shards. Shard is basically the name for a server, and Ultima Online, for those of you that may not know it, is actually the first MMORPG. So it's basically like World of Warcraft, but the first World of Warcraft is Ultima Online. So this is a place where this world kind of takes place, and so this place has actually run for decades, right? So more than 10 years actually it's been going on. Actually, they're cutting it short here. I think it's been running for close to 20 years, and so this is a long history. And the people who maintain the server, the people who write the server, this place is actually for free. You don't have to pay. I'm not promoting something that you have to pay money for. This is free, right? And you don't actually have to donate any money. And if you donate any money, it only goes to like, you know, changing the colors of some items. It doesn't change gameplay, so it's not pay to win. And actually, a lot of people, you know, don't donate, which is kind of sad. I donate a little bit just to keep this amazing place going. So the staff have actually integrated all the stories of players from the last 20 years. And this is what makes up the lore. This is what makes up the current background of this game. So yeah, so basically this staff has, you know, kind of like compiled all the stories and kind of worked and improved on all the stories that players have in the community, in the forums and inside of the game itself, through the roleplay, through the interaction with other people, they got to actually create. So this is like, you know, showcase screenshot what the game looks like. I know it looks very retro, and I'll get you guys in a second. So yeah, this is kind of what it looks like, and this is kind of like a text for all the people that play Ultima, because, you know, most people that come here have already played Ultima. I want to actually help more people to explore role playing to this depth. There's a lot of role playing out there, and I also do some GTA 5 role play, but GTA 5 role play is not as deep, and you know, I'll get into what I mean by that. So here you have basically the story of this world is very close to, let's say, medieval Europe, with a lot of like fantasy add-ons. So if you actually want to roleplay in a very deep environment, in a place where you can actually achieve almost like true immersion, like if you are a person that when you read a book, you know, you can kind of let go and you can start creating this world with your mind. It's a place that allows you to do that, and the game client is there kind of like as a standby, and it's also a game, right? So you can also, you know, you can hunt, you can do stuff that you do in the game, but this is not the main purpose. You can just play Diablo if that's your main thing. Requiem 13 Thrones is kind of like a free Diablo kind of version, if you want to have like a shorthand kind of way of explaining it, and it allows you, you know, the ability to actually immerse yourself in a very kind of historical, very deep world. And you also have, you know, fantasy elements that make it a lot of fun. So you have mages, you have a lot of that kind of stuff, and you can learn a lot about the world. So it requires a little bit of reading, right? So you have to read about how this world works. You have to read about the background. But this is kind of the fun bit if you're a reader. And I'm guessing a lot of professional side girls viewers, and maybe some of Auxiliary's viewers. And thank you, Auxiliary, also for the initial raid. And thank you very much, Professional Side Girl, for the raid. I appreciate the opportunity to showcase this world and to try to overcome my streaming newbie kind of status. So this is actually also a survival game, as you can see in this part of the page. So you have to actually like get your characters food, you have to get water, you have to cook, you even have to decontaminate the water, because a lot of the water sources are contaminated. Sounds a little bit like Dungeons Dragons sort of roleplay stuff. Actually, yeah, Kalen is very heavily D&D based. Not even a little. We even have dice in the game, and I'll tell you when you can use the dice when you're trying to roleplay with another player or dungeon master or game master. That's the equivalent term here. And you want to you want to decide something without using power roleplay, without trying to like force a situation. So then you break out the the dice. Yeah, you have dice like Baldur's Gate 3, sorry, because both are based on D&D. So you have the full dice, right? So you break out the dice, and you're role playing with this other player or other players, and you're trying to figure out what actually happens. And so you can actually use the dice when things are like, contentious, where you're trying to decide, I'm trying to restrain this person. Is this actually going to happen? So then you can actually break out the dice, and the dice can decide if there is no other clear kind of advantage in your role play. For example, my character that I play for quite a few years, he's a master at fighting arts. So he's a master of bows and kind of two-handed weapons, and he's a battle tactician. So he's very good at certain kind of things. So and everybody kind of knows that about my character. So if I do this kind of an action, it's very obvious that he would have the upper hand most likely. But we can still actually use the bow. We can still actually use the dice. And there's a way to use the dice with also your character skill. So let's say you have, and often how you use the dice is you have, let's say there's a monster hiding around the corner, and most people cannot see it, but you want to run a chance of actually seeing the monster. If you have 120 perception like I do, you have a very high chance of rolling the dice and then multiplying with your skill level, and then you get most likely to see the monster, for example. So that's kind of like a breakdown of how you can use the dice. So I will quickly go over how to join this world. You need an application to actually get a character, but you can try the world right away. And the way to do that is to go to connecting, files, and setup. And then you can scroll down and find the patcher. So the patcher is in step 1, and you download the patcher. This is it. This is all you need to do. And the patcher is going to download all the files that you need, and you're good to go. And I'll show you what this looks like right now. So this is the patcher. It's already done patching, so we can actually start the game. So for all of you that are super impatient, we're actually going to go in the game very soon. Then it's kind of recommended that you go to application, story primer, and kind of you do a little bit of the reading before you write your character application. But the other thing you can do, or you can do this in tandem, is to actually go to the forum and then find there's approved applications, right? So you go to approved applications, you can look at all the characters that have been approved onto the world, and then you can find some character that kind of suits what you had in mind, right? So then you can be like, okay, well, I like this character, Ulfida, kind of fits a little bit my backstory, my idea with the kind of character I want to play. I would recommend you just read through that, change it heavily, and maybe you can use that as your first character, just to shortcut into the world and to get to experience what roleplay feels like. And then you can just apply, and then you get allowed into the world. But even without being in the world, there is a restricted area where you can just try out the game and see if it's your cup of tea, and you can just see if it's something that you want to do. I have 2 characters here. This is my main character, and he's kind of like a dedicated fighter, defender type of thing. He's worked for years in like kind of like military organizers. I'm also actually an ex-military officer in the Greek army. I'm a lieutenant. Hopefully soon I'll pass my test for captain. Actually, the training hasn't started yet. Probably need to wait another 1 or 2 years. And my other character is a tailor who's actually like very low intelligence, but really funny. He swears a lot. He's like, kind of like they're kind of opposites. And this is fun, when we get to make your second character, you can make a character that's completely different than anything else that you play, or something that's completely different from you, so you can actually get to experience a different perception and interact as that with the world, right? That's why we play games, we escape. And actually, yeah, so last time I actually logged out in this area where I usually come to hunt. It's and my character is hidden, that's why he's grayed out. It's an area full with undead. It's like an abandoned abbey, or like a kind of a religious building of some sort, and things have gone haywire. Dark mazes have kind of like taken over this whole place, and I just put on my Bardus, which is shit. Actually, I need to go repair that right away because it's gonna break down, and then I'm gonna be down a very good weapon. But I could switch to my bow. So Although usually I don't hunt with my bow because I like to save on arrows. So what I do is I try to use my pole arms as much as possible just to save on arrows, so I don't have to pay for arrows or get people to make my character arrows. That's the annoying thing about playing an archer, is that you always have to replenish your ammo. But for now, I don't have another 200 weapon on me. I need to go repair that. So our first mission in the game is actually to go find a repair writ, to actually go to a place to repair it, or you can actually find a player crafter. So if we run into a player crafter somewhere that is a blacksmith, we could get him to repair our barriers for us so it doesn't break down. And I've been hunting a while and forgot to check the condition of my barriers, and it's a good thing I hovered over it and checked the condition, because it's about to break down. So as I said, one element of the game is basically like Diablo. Like, you go around and you kill things, right? But so what's different then is that in main situations you get to roleplay, you get to speak as your character, think as your character. Is it one character per account? No, you can have many characters per account, but starting out in the game, you'll be given one character slot, and then by getting experience in the game, your second character application is gonna have a bit more requirements. Like, you need to be a little bit more deeper roleplay and a better background and so on. Oh, crunk! Yeah, there's a lot of crafting here. Everything is crafted by players except for some items that you can find. But the best quality items are actually crafted by players. The only annoying thing is that it takes a lot of effort for those crafters. And there's a whole system of qualities and different benefits to each weapon and stuff like that. I'll show you in a second. You can lower any item and see what the stats are on that item and so on. So yeah, so what was I saying before? So yeah, being in the game, you will write an emote as your character, right? So you can say something like seems winded, right? So, and you have to emote in such a way, in my opinion, that it's something that other people would see about your character, right? So it's something, for example, each character also has a description. You can write a description, right? So and it has some of the description is calculated by the game, because in the game there's also this thing called the torment, which is actually the pandemic, but they did that way before the pandemic, because this place has been around for 20 years, right? And it also shows you, if my character seems to be exuding the symptoms of having the torment or not having the torment. Because if you actually look at someone and they have the torment, you might want to keep your distance, right? Because you can actually contract the torment, and this is something that is calculated by the code, right? So this is actually gameplay. So over here, you have your codex, where you have all the information about your characters and stuff like that, and you also have your afflictions status, and you see that my character is fully healthy, so he hasn't contracted the torment. So the torment is something that can drive your character almost insane, as well as many other symptoms. So there is there's, as usual, everything in this world, it has a roleplay element that ties into the world, and also has a gameplay element that kind of makes it also fun. I mean, it sucks to get the torment, but there's also some fun elements. So you also get some benefits from having the torments, like you have resistance to pain or something like that. But you don't really want to get the torment, because it's not a good time, and it also might kill your character. And one thing I didn't say is this server is kind of like hardcore mode. So there is a way for you to permanently lose your character, but there's assisted point system. I'll keep this really short and I'll let you have questions. There's a point system that can calculate and see, if your character, there is no cure. As far as we know in the game, there's a whole bunch of people that roleplay doctors and researchers and, kind of the beginning of scientists. Because in this world, you have, it's like a little bit after the Dark Ages, after the Middle Ages, where you begin to see like steam engines and stuff like that. You also have firearms in this world, right? So there's if you go to skills, There's like new skills, and there's like a whole skill set. And this is for people that know the Ultima games. There's a whole bunch of kind of like a firearm skill tree that doesn't exist in any other world of this type. So it's a little bit of a. So that's another character about to go hunting. So we can actually interact with him, right? So we interact with him the same way we would interact if we were the character, right? So the same way we would play. So yeah, the world is actually slightly before the Renaissance. But what was I trying to say? I was trying to say something about the death system, right? So the death system is point-based, and there are actual ways to avoid dying, right? So Tildor says, I just wanted to go beating up some undeads, and you? Just getting back from exactly that, but need to do some repairs, I think I'm going to say. So if you guys get a hang of my character, you can also try maybe to make it more interactive. You can suggest stuff to say. That'd be kind of fun. No, who has plenty of repair? Actually, yeah. So yeah, so let me know if you have any questions or. Yeah, okay, Dorian, I think I didn't completely answer your question. So to get secondary characters, each day you spend in the game, you get a loyalty point, and you can actually use loyalty points to unlock a second and third character slot. So I think you get up to 3 characters per account, right? And you're only entitled to 1 account. So I think that answers your question. Now the death system, oh boy. Okay, let's see what Tildor said first of all. Then I better go to the Briars. There are some there. Oh, cool. So actually, Mr. Tildor over here, who I happen to know his name, right? Because you don't necessarily know someone's name when you first meet them. You actually have to ask them, and you have to go by the name they give you. He actually gave us a repair deed, which is pretty awesome because that saves me the trip. That is very kind of you. Want to join in the hunt? So, we can go hunting together. So there's a party system. So you can actually make a party, and by making a party, you can also split the bonuses. The XP bonuses are split across the party, and you can also split the loot and all that kind of stuff. So it's all kind of like, you can decide how you want to do that with other players. So I'll quickly go over death, just to not scare people away, right? So each time you die, each time your character dies, you're actually, in roleplay, you're not dead, you're knocked out. And you have this knockout count. So this then interacts with a mortality system. If you get knocked out by red or really dangerous NPCs, your chance of mortality is higher, or there's actually a chance of mortality. So then you start to gain mortality. And as you gain mortality, you have a chance of permanent death for your character. But this is not permanent, right? So how do you overcome this? This is up to how you want to play. If you want to play really risky and keep pushing, you can keep hunting, you can keep attacking other players and going into PvP or whatever adventure you feel like. If you have mortality, what I do is, if I have mortality, I just go back to the town inn, to the tavern, and I just chill out and roleplay with other characters. And this actually ties into both the healing system. So you have a healing system that's based on grit, and so your character regains grit. So there's this whole concept of grit, and also your spirit, or your character's spirit, kind of like regains, in a way, connection with your character. So your chance of your spirit detaching from your character is much lower. And this whole system actually works like that. So when you make a character, it's like a new spirit that's being made. So each character has their own spirit. And if your character dies, actually some of the points, some of the knowledge, the general knowledge in your spirit don't go away, which is how the death system is balanced. So it's easier to lose a character, but you don't lose everything. You lose all your possessions, you lose all your actual skills, but you get skill points. So you get a way to get a new character, and you don't have to dredge through, building up the whole character and like power gaming and spending tons of hours to train up So Tildor says, why not? Where do we go now? Let's do a quick stop for their repair, and I'm ready. Oh, might as well drop by that bank too. Actually, let's do a quick trip to the bank so I can get rid of all the coins. Because copper coins are really heavy, so what I do is, I try to get rid of them. And then, I have a lot more space in my pack and a lot of... I'm able to carry a lot more. So, is there frequent chatting with the players? Yeah. You run into the players and you roleplay with them, and you have to understand that each player has a completely different background, personality. So think about it like, have you ever done this kind of like writing together with other people? I don't know what this is called. Like when you do a story with other people, it's also kind of like this impromptu theater where you're on stage and somebody throws a setting. So the setting here is the lowers the world background, right? So this is very much like impromptu. Actually, I'm going to improv. Yeah, there you go. Improv or impromptu theater or whatever it's called. So then each character has their own background already. It's not something that you decide last minute on stage, but the fun comes from how, your character is and how other characters are and how these people interact together. They start to create kind of like this magical creative writing thing happens that really sucks you in. Like this, I mean, right now we won't probably experience it because it just happens. Like you have to run into the right situation. You have to run into some players, and it has to be the right situation. Right now, I'm just doing something pretty basic with Tildor, so we're just hunting, right? So it's not that not immersive. It's you can think of this like basically doing your joint Diablo play or your joint what was it called, BSG3 play, or whatever other role-playing game that's multiplayer. Though here you actually have to write things out. There's no a selection. You just select out of the 3 options that we have already written for you, which one do you want to do. Now you actually have to think about and write everything yourself. And if you think about this a little bit, this can also help you improve your creative writing a little bit. Okay, so now I'm gonna stop following this guy and go to the foundry. This is where you can get repairs. I think right here is where we can actually, I think you just double click that, right? And they repair your weapon. So now my weapon is like new, and I said I would lower the items so you can actually see that each item has a whole bunch of stats, right? So you have like how fast you can... Oh, Tiffany, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. So this is how fast you can swing your weapon. This is like your blunt damage, slash damage, corporeal, occult damage, energy, chaos, and so on. And this is some other like information. That is the 200 weapon that tells you what skills it's going to use. Are there any female players? Oh yeah, there's a lot of female players, and relationships are a thing in this game. My character actually has a relationship with this character called Ara, and it's kind of funny because both these characters were actually virgins in the game, and they were both like very military kind of oriented, and they didn't ever have like any romantic experience. It was so funny actually to it was really cool to role play a complete virgin and to think, how would a militaristic person like my character, who grew up in the forest because his parents actually wanted to get away from the city, wanted to get away from politics. I've been volunteering in politics for the last 20 years, and I'm like, I don't like politics, screw that shit, sorry. So I'm like, my character is going to be completely apolitical. I want to experience this other side. So I wrote my background story that my character's parents, they kind of like got involved in some shit in the town, and they experienced the small town or middle town politics, and they had enough, and they decided to just take their son and just go actually live in the middle of the forest, and they set up camp there. So yeah, so that's a bit of my character's background and how I roleplayed. So also he never had any, he lived by himself, right? So he only had his ma, his pa, and his animal friends. That's it. And so he never actually had seen a woman. So when he actually got to the world for the first time, He had a relationship that didn't actually, complete, so to speak. So with his current mate, they were both virgins, and they did, consummate their relationship, but that took actually quite a long time. So I think we were like role playing for more than a year, and they were like just like two awkward virgins together who knew nothing about romantic relationships, and they were just brutes, right? They were just like, ugh, how do I do romance? I don't know. And so, and then, I kind of roleplayed that my character was like reading deep into it, and he kind of like studying how to like bleach women and stuff like that. So actually, the first time wasn't too bad. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this on Twitch. I'm not sure. It might be TOS, even though it's a game. It's kind of it's a creative writing kind of game. But yeah, so yeah, Kronk, you have full on romance here. The only thing you need to ensure is you need to send the other player an OC message of some way that you can get consent, right? So like real life, you need to actually get consent for explicit roleplay. And some people are not okay with it. So what you do is, okay, well, let's go up in this room in this hotel, and we can just log off our characters for like whatever time, and we can just roleplay that it happened. This is also fine. If you want to roleplay it, you can roleplay it. Just make sure you have consent, right? And make sure the other person is up for it. It's exactly the same as real life in that respect. And actually, PvP works in that way too. Like on a lot of servers for this game, PvP is, it's like as soon as they see you, they kill you. Here you have to actually get into roleplay. There is no way you can kill another person without roleplay. There's no way you can kill another person if your character, if this doesn't fit your character. If your character is, let's say, to put this simply, your character is a good person, right? You can't last minute decide, oh, okay, I want to kill this person, so now my character is a psycho. No, you can't do this. Actually, this is bannable, right? You can't overnight, like over a second, be like, okay, my character now is evil. So you wrote a good character, you're a good backstory. Your good character can slowly turn evil, but it's not something that's going to happen over 2 minutes. So this is not okay. Now, but if you have a good character overall, like you have like in D&D, you have like the good, like you have like order, chaos, good, evil, right? So you have this axis, so you can decide where your character is on that. And if your character is good and orderly and lawful, and they run into a disorderly chaos mage, a blood mage, of course they're going to be natural enemies. So you can actually interact with this person, and if you attack them early or they attack you early, it's accepted, because in both your backgrounds, in both your characters, it's natural that you're enemies. You're not going to be enemies in the last minute, or you don't like this person in real life and you're like, oh, I want to kill their character. That's not okay. You have to learn to dissociate between out of character and in character here, because you have to try to think more like your character would, and not just try to force things to, I don't know, satisfy whatever, I don't know, hatred you have towards another player, which you shouldn't have anyway. It should be, I mean, I'm trying to keep this a positive community, and I often, I try to also protect new players. So if you're a new player, let me know, send me a message. I can show you the game, I can show you around. You don't need consent to PvP, but there needs to be a reason or backstory or roleplay to PvP. Yes. You don't need consent, but it is like consent. Like, I agree with what you're saying, Blitzkrieg, but it's also kind of like consent. So you need to actually initiate with the other person. If they're just there and not talking and, not interacting with you, it's not kind of okay to do any acts on them. I mean, they need to actually be alive. You need to initiate with a living, with a player that's connected, so to speak. So attacking people that are just disconnected because there was some sort of a technical issue, that's not okay. What if my backstory is that I'm a homicidal maniac? Okay, well, in that case, you can actually initiate PvP and attacking your players much sooner, but you still have to do roleplay. You have to actually, here's what you do. And actually, this is one of my favorite memories from, I kid you not, this is a memory I have from 1998, when I was playing on a similar roleplay world called Mytharia. At first I was playing on OZ, which is the official server for Ultima Online. Oh, small case. Holy shit. Welcome by, man. Or woman, sorry. I'm a newbie streamer. Small case, give me a break here. I'm already sweating. I'm like, I've been streaming for 41 minutes. I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot of work. Anyway, so yeah, so I was role playing back in Mytharia back in '98, and I remember that this evil character, he tried to seduce my character Vinny. So he actually put in the work to try to seduce my character from town in order to take him out. But kind of my character was a little, high intelligence, so he figured out. Actually, I was playing a traveling author, and there are no skills in the game for traveling author, so it was all mostly roleplay, right? He had some basic skills to get by, but I was basically just writing little books and selling little books in the game, and that was my character. Bullshit, right? So he was a bit of a smarter character, the one I was playing. So my friend's character, actually Felix's character, he's a Swedish guy. We're very good friends now, and we've been friends for decades because of the game, right? So he was trying to seduce my character. It wasn't like he just showed up and was like, okay, you're dead now. Right? So he was like initiating roleplay and trying to just trick my character to get him outside of town, to get him somewhere else, to then attack him, and or whatever else he had in mind, because it's not necessary that he would attack him. So for example, another character I was playing on that game, and it's probably one of the darkest characters I've designed. That game had races. This game only has a human race. So on Mytharia, I had a dark elf or a drow, and you've seen the drow race on BSG, right? So drow are very kind of hostile as a race, and they're very kind of like, let's say they have like a lot of issues, right? They live in the caves. They like the dark. That's why they're also like dark skinned. And they're not the easiest, most pleasant to be around. Like they're really, they don't like other races. Like they're like the most racist race in D&D, let's say. So the way I roleplayed my drow is like he lived in a cave system, right? So he lived in the depth of caves, and in Mytharia there were some shortcuts through the caves to actually get to other islands and to get to other places where there were a lot of different towns and cities that were actually run by players. It was a lot of fun, actually. I miss that place. And players would often come through the drow territory to get a shortcut, right? To get to their island quicker without having to use a boat and stuff like that. But the drow did not appreciate that because it was their territory, and in their mind, this was an infraction upon their borders, and it was not okay. So the way I roleplayed my drow is I would actually capture humans coming through, and then slowly enslave them, chain them up, bring them to the mines, and make them work for me for free, right? And so I would do that for a while, but I mean, it's roleplaying. You have to think about everybody wants to have fun. So I had my fun. I did like my jailer roleplay, dark elf, whatever, humans must die kind of thing. I didn't actually kill them, and then we did like sometimes we did like a escape roleplay, and I just let them go away. But the whole idea was like, you created there a impromptu background for everyone to have fun. I mean, it was in my purview to also kill them, but I don't think that's as fun roleplay wise. So I didn't bother killing them. Actually, I also roleplayed the thief, and with the thief, I did actually seduce a couple of people, kill them, but mostly what I did, I often seduced. I tricked them to give them stuff to me without having to actually steal it from them. So my fun was being a rogue without using rogue skills, without actually using the mechanics and opening someone's back and stealing something from someone's back. I was actually tricking them through roleplay to trust my character, to give them stuff, and then he would just steal the stuff and get away with it. And then on Mytharia, there was a disguise kit, so you could actually change the way that your character looked. And so what I did is I changed the way that my thief looked, my rogue. I changed the way that he spoke. I changed the color of the text that comes out, like when you do emotes. Let's say breathes heavily. So I changed everything so nobody could understand that, hey, this is me, right? And then I would go around and trick people. And after I was done with the con, to go back to being my normal self, whatever that the base was. Yes, so Tilder got concerned because my character is like breathing heavily. Just catching up on some oxygen. So here's the thing. I interrupt my thought pattern. So yeah, that's kind of a way to make role playing more fun. Oh yeah, so then my rogue character went back to normal, right? So you could actually talk to the person that he robbed, that he actually tricked, and they didn't know it was him. That was so much fun. So I'm gonna spawn. Now we can keep going. I just like to breathe a lot, you know. And actually, there's also some emotes that make sounds, and these are nice to use a couple times, so you don't always have to type your emote. So we can do a laughs emote. Yeah, we are all breathing plants. The better, actually, this is kind of true. The better the breathing, the better the fighting. I mean, I'm into martial arts. I may not look like much, but I have like 15 years of martial arts, mixed martial arts experience. And breathing and actually controlling your breathing and your breathing patterns is one of the most important things in fighting. If you want to do that kind of thing, like I love sparring, I love this kind of stuff. This is what keeps me more fit, is shadow boxing, and I can barely drag my ass to the gym. Like I get so bored at the gym. I know Kat is gonna hate this. I've talked about this with Kat, but yeah, I can't seem to like. I got on a good gym schedule before the pandemic in 2019, and you know, after the pandemic hit, all the gyms closed, and and that killed my whole gym schedule. Like, killed my whole gym routine. And ever since, I've never been able to actually go to the gym. I paid for gym membership, and I've never showed up. Like, I showed up to buy the gym membership, and also to ask some questions about the gym. And the question I asked, guess what? Is like, do you have a punching bag? And when can I use the punching bag? These were my only questions. Oh my goodness. I'm a case. Anyway. Oh shit. So my friend actually got poisoned because he walked into putrid blood, and I was following him, so I actually also walked through putrid blood. So we might actually both die here. Homie Frank, thanks for following. I really appreciate it. I'm a UV streamer, so I really appreciate every follow and anyone that can put up with my not professional kind of streaming style. And bear with me because I'm new, and also I have a bit of a headache. And I was up late watching a lot of streamers actually. I'm a Twitch fanatic. I guess I've been in Twitch since 2013, but I haven't streamed for the longest time. But I'm always there to support all the streamers, and I've made a lot of friends this way. So I have a lot of friends on Twitch. Like, a lot of my followers are actually old friends, but I never actually streamed for the longest time. So yeah, that's why, you know, after like so many years, I actually haven't gone anywhere. I only have what, 120 followers or something now, or something like that. Yeah, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, not breathing doesn't work too well. Yeah, if you're not breathing, your muscles are gonna freak out, because your muscles need a lot of juice to keep you going. Like, sparring and fighting uses so much energy in a short amount of time, so you need high endurance. So the training that I do is only stuff that's focused in high endurance. Oh yeah, Crunk, you sent me, and we discussed about this stuff, so you know all about it. So yeah, so now we're just hunting in this area called Iwella, which, as I said, used to be like a religious kind of town, like with a big church and stuff like that. But a lot of unspeakable things have happened in this area, and now it's full with mages, zealots, fanatics, and lots of experiments, like, you know, amalgamations of flesh with things and undead. And, you know, I guess these mages have figured out how to bring people back from the grave. And so anyone that's ever died, you know, ends up in one of those things. So this is like a heap of gore, is this monster's kind of description. So I switched to my bow because I wanted to like focus more on you guys, because if I get too involved in the PvE and hunting monsters, I might be a pretty shitty experience to you know, introduce the game to you. So, guys, don't be strangers. Type up in chat. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you have questions about anything or comments and stuff like that. Because I'm not very good at, you know, speaking forever. I'm a newbie streamer, so I really need the chat. The chat saves my life right now. They're PC wizards or NPCs. Okay, here there's a lot of NPCs, but this is an area that you might run into a player wizard. Yeah, so I've run into player wizards a couple of times. And sometimes, I kid you not, my option was to get the hell out of there, because wizards are really powerful, but they are also, it's illegal to be a wizard in the game. So if you're found out to be a wizard in the game, and be very careful, if you make a first character and you get in the game and you're like, oh, hey, you know, hey guys, I'm a mage. You're a mage? Oh, hello. We have a nice big pyre for you. Would you like to see our pyre? Please come see our pyre. No, don't ever say to anyone you're a mage. Right, so you have to actually create a cover story for your mage. If your mage wants to live in town, you need a cover story. You need a cover story, or you're just going to be kindling for the pyre. I kid you not, this is a dark world. Like I told Kat, hey, actually, you know, this might fit your theme, because it's a pretty dark world. I think Kat, I don't know if Kat would ever get into this game, but maybe she could. Like I could picture Kat writing up a character, not telling anyone. Because the fun is playing a character when no one knows that you're playing that character, so you can like really disinhibit yourself and unleash your darkest character and see what can happen in the world. This is fine. This is why we have this place. You can come live your darkest kind of fantasies in the game. It's absolutely fine. The only thing you have to remember is get consent, kids, you know? If you don't get consent, this is actually bannable. Like if you try to roleplay romantic scenes and stuff like that with a non-consenting party and they get a whiff of that, the staff are gonna ban you. So yeah. So you can roleplay basically almost anything that's inside of the reality of the game. You can discover more of that by reading about it. But yeah, you have to make sure that you get consent from other people. This is a 18 plus only server anyway, so you know that the other person is an adult. If the person is not an adult, they will be banned. You mean like flirting or more explicit? You can do flirting. Flirting is fine. I mean, flirting to some degree is fine. Even flirting to a grotesque degree is probably fine, because this is a dark world after all. So if your character is like some deranged guy who doesn't know how to talk to women, and he's a little bit on the creepy side, no, creepy approved. You can be creepy. That's fine. What you can't do is you can't do lewd acts. You can't, you know, insinuate that, you know, you're doing stuff to the other character without their consent. That's the difference. Okay, actually I have to get closer to try to heal my friend here, because this guy is very hard to fight. So this is something that you can do. Like this is, right now I'm also doing the role of the healer. So the other character is basically doing the shield. If I don't heal him against this guy and this group of foes, he's probably gonna die. So what you do if you play an archer, if you have good anatomy skills, you can actually heal someone else, and you can either do the aid command. I'll show you the command later. Or you can do you can make this shortcut here, so you can, you know, basically like WoW, and then you can target the player that you want to heal. And if you're right by the character, you actually heal them. And since you were so close to so many foes, actually, let me try to select the foes that are around us. Let's try to actually kill some of them. Maybe we can actually attack this thing. With pole arms, you can attack things that are 2 squares away. Alright, so we actually helped with the damage as well. And it's actually a lot more damage than just using the bow in this situation. So guys, again, I want to thank Professional Sad Girl for the raid. And so anyone that's come into my channel or is from my channel, please go follow up Professional Sad Girl. Because she's amazing, and she's a very genuinely good person. And such a fun hangout. Like I've spent countless hours on her stream, just chilling out. Like basically, she's amazing for that. So just chilling out with Cat or on as her Twitch name is Professional Sad Girl. I will shout her out again. Please go follow her. She's a great time. Oh, I can't actually shout her out for 12 minutes. Whatever. I'll just spam her channel. There you go, Twitch. There you go. I'm gonna do what I want, Twitch. Thank you. Please don't ban me. Okay, guys, let me know if you have any more questions, because I don't know, like, unless you set my mind on something. My mind works in a very kind of like problem-solving way, as you saw, Crunk. As soon as you give me something to solve, I'm already working on solving it, and then I want to get it done. I want to get it out of my head. I want to cross it off the to-do list, because I already have too many things on my to-do list. I'm like, okay, I can't do any more right now. I'm like, nope. I've already fixed it. I'm already done. And the ball is back in your court, and I don't have to think about it. So yeah, so if you give me stuff to solve, like you can ask me things about technology, you can ask me things about philosophy, you can ask me things about science, you can ask me things about a whole bunch of categories. I have an opinion about almost everything too, so I'm very opinionated. But in some areas, I actually base my opinions on what I can learn from the science and all the written material out there, what we can actually try to extrapolate to. I'm very kind of like very scientific kind of thinking. I feel you, it can be overwhelming. All right, Crunk. Aliens are real? Maybe. Actually, we had this very discussion the other day with another person, and I explained very quickly the fact that I explained what spectrography is. And you need this to understand that, okay, so spectrography is analyzing colors and figuring out what colors correlate with what chemicals. And we use this specific method looking at places far, far away, places that are visible from Earth, to look for signs of alien life or any life. And so far, we don't see any. But at the same time, some people will say, okay, yeah, but how far can light actually travel? So we only see as far as light can travel. And also light can travel really fast, but over the time that it took to get here, what you're seeing, like the piece of, it's like streaming, right? So you imagine stream delay to the amount of like the distances that we're talking about for some of the like far, barely visible planets and galaxies and celestial bodies out there. That's a question an undercover alien would ask. It says V. How much resolution is there? What do you mean resolution? In the game, or like I'm not I'm a newbie streamer, so I only get 720p. So that's why my resolution is a little shittier. And actually, that kind of sucks because a lot of people leave your streams if the resolution is lower, or if the audio is bad. Sorry, I can't talk anymore. But almost nobody tells you how to fix your audio, which is sad for new streamers. It's like, just you go to a new streamer's channel, always tell them how to fix the audio. Try to help them to fix the audio. Don't just leave the channel, because it's really hard to actually do an audio check. And even if you do an audio check, then something happens and the audio screws up again. So you kind of have to help new streamers. Anyway. So there is this paradox. I always forget the name of the paradox at first, but then I figured it out. And the paradox says that despite, looking so far out into the world, into the universe for signs of life, and the fact that, there is life on planet Earth, and there are, Fermi paradox. Thank you, Crunk. So the Fermi paradox says that, despite knowing that life can exist because we are alive, right? So, and there can be the right conditions, because the Earth has the right conditions for life. So far, we don't see any evidence of it. Anyway, we have looked, right? And we have looked like for, I don't know, quite a few decades, like maybe since the 50s, we've been looking for alien life, even maybe before that. And so far, we only have like maybe some strange transmissions. Like audio stuff mostly, and it's like probably some effect or some random shit. So to fully answer your question, Blitzkrieg, Maybe there's aliens out there, but so far there's absolutely no evidence for it. But it's possible. I mean, it's possible they have existed. Or it's possible they exist now, but we can't see them yet. Like, because the stream delay, the light delay from places really far away is so high that, you know, it'll be forever until we know. Anyway, guys, keep me popping with questions, because otherwise I'll stop talking and then you'll leave. And the plan is to also raid another friend who is right now doing a stream subathon. He's on his 5th day and then some. And right now he's catching some Z's, because this guy has been streaming hardcore for such a long time that, yeah, he should be catching some Z's, because I actually don't recommend anyone missing, you know, too much sleep. It's not really good for you. Oh, I can talk about that. Yeah, I'm a big sleep advocate. I guess I could be Twitch's sleep advocate, and I've also been on Kat's case often to get more sleep and to take care of herself, because it's not good to sacrifice sleep to get better at Twitch or whatever. Like, if you can't sleep anyway, do it. Actually, that's a good thing to do. Like, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to bed, and you can't, you know, even if you try, and then you fixate on wanting to sleep, and actually that goes against what you want, because that's how the human brain works. It's like, what you want, it doesn't want to do it. So it's like the same idea. Is like, try not to think about something. Try not to think that I'm playing a game right now. Like, the moment that you put that idea in your mind, you can't do it. But what can you do? Do something else. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep and you're a cat, sure, do some streaming until you're tired, and then you can go back to bed better. That's a good idea. But try, you know, if you're a new streamer or whatever, I'm not trying to be hard on some cat or anyone. I'm just trying to be a sleep advocate, and I'm trying to say, and I will give you some information on that. To try not to sacrifice your sleep for anything. Sleep, a lot of people say sleep is overrated. You hear that a lot, like in many chat rooms across Twitch. If you go, at some point somebody's going to say sleep is overrated, and I strongly disagree. Sleep is severely underrated. Like, especially because our parents, when we were kids, they tried to get us to sleep so much that we're like, you know, no. It's like the resistance. Like, no, I won't do what you tell me. I will do the opposite. Why? Just because I want to be independent. I want to have my own agency, man. So yeah, so we have this tendency to just do always the opposite, right? And this is why you should just try to do something when you can't sleep, and not just think that, oh yeah, I can't sleep. If you can't sleep, just do something. Get yourself tired, get yourself mentally tired, maybe play a game, and then you can sleep. Yeah, if this happens, you can just misclick. Or you can choose to roleplay it out. Right now I don't have the time to roleplay it out because I'm in this sleep advocate mode. Blitzclick said, do you get attacked often by other players? Sometimes, yeah, they misclick. Like, I just misclicked because I was too into explaining sleep. Sleep is overrated. Yeah, see? Vinay is into yeah, Semi needs to sleep more too. I'm always on her case because sometimes she's streaming late and I'm like, Semi, you need your sleep. We're both in Greece. I know that you should be sleeping right now. Anyway, so without being like super your dad or like your boring doctor or professor mode or whatever, I can say that sleep is very important for how your mind works, or how you feel, so your emotions, how your brain works, how performant you are at complex tasks. Like right now, I'm doing a lot of talking. Talking is actually a very difficult task. And so you will have noticed that if you don't sleep well, you can't speak. Like it's all gibberish. It's like simple grammar doesn't make sense. And then you're like, holy shit, this is hard, right? And it's the same stuff that happens if you drink a lot of alcohol, because alcohol is a depressant. What is a depressant? It's something that reduces activation in neurons or generally your brain. I don't want to overcomplicate things. So it makes things slower, and then you see that, hey, language doesn't work anymore. So yeah, so you need sleep for mental clarity, you need sleep for cognitive performance. What does that mean? Anything that you use your brain to do, like math or talking or driving. Actually, this is a big warning. Do not drive tired. Driving tired is worse than driving drunk. And I'm not advocating driving drunk either. I'm just saying it's so bad that people should actually stop by the side of the road and be okayed to just take a nap. Like your brain will prioritize sleep over your driving, and then you have an accident and bye-bye. I'm sorry. So always, don't overdrive. Like rent a place, rest, and you might save your life. You might save the people riding your car's lives. Holy shit, it's so dark. I need to use my lantern. Yeah, this place is super dark. Like it's so dark, you can barely see where I'm going right now. Right, so that's I don't want to overcomplicate sleep, because it also has to do with long-term memory. So the way that dreams interact with things that you have gone through the day and decide what to keep and what to get rid of. So they prune and also do long-term potentiation. What is long-term potentiation in simple English? It's basically your neurons reaching out and making connections and making these chemical bridges and links so that a particular memory can actually work, right? Or some knowledge can be solidified inside your brain. It works kind of like a circuit. Let me catch up with chats. Hey Vinay, I saw your friend request on Steam. Just accepted a few minutes ago. Cool. Nice of you guys to buddy up. I saw a video by Andrew Huberman. I absolutely love Andrew Huberman. I was watching Andrew Huberman before Kat said that he needed to stream someone. And I was just watching, there's this amazing negotiator, Chris Voss, I think his name is. And he's a guest on Huberman. I'm like, I've got to watch this. So that's what I was watching. And I was really happy watching it. So like, I'm like, do I have to stream now? I guess I have to stream now because Kat has a lot of people. And she just got rated by the beautiful auxiliary. And so I have to accept the stream and, get some streaming in. I'm forcing myself to do more streaming and I just can't get myself to do more streaming. Yeah, he's an ex-FBI negotiator. He's amazing. Like if you want to learn how to negotiate and stuff like that, he's the guy for the job. He's unique. And Andrew Huberman is an amazing neuroscientist who focuses on clinical ophthalmology. So this is like the study of like the eye and the visual system and all that kind of stuff. And he's just great. Like that guy knows so much stuff. And despite knowing so much stuff, he's also humble and he goes where the evidence points and he doesn't make overarching statements. So he's also an amazing person. I'd love to meet Andrew Huberman one day. I'll take an autograph from Andrew Huberman. These are the kind of how do you say it? Like these are the kind of celebrities I really care about. Andrew Huberman is one of them. So yeah, so sleep, all the parts of sleep. Without going into great detail, so memory, long-term memory. I'll just give you a hint that you need at least 90 minutes of sleep for your memory system to actually convert to long-term memory. So if you're studying for exams and stuff like that, you need to actually get like 90 minutes sleeps in. If you're doing like all night cramming, you could actually split up 90 minutes sleeps and be like, okay, I'm going to do 2 90-minute cycles. So, a sleep that's 2 times 90 minutes and then study and then do another 2. Right, so you can actually break up sleep, and that's fine. Especially if you break up sleep by 2, this is natural, and it used to be the natural sleeping pattern before we invented artificial life. Don't want to hunt further? Are we going back to town? I almost kind of like completely forgot that we were hunting. So what you do is just put all the loot in the middle and then you just divide by half. So I'm just gonna take like half, a bit less than half, that's fine. The rest is yours. Thinking of hunting the Bryce, sure. Let's stop by the bank first. Right, so we're gonna stop by the fort again, then we're gonna hunt in a different area and show you guys a little bit more. Here you see the map. And this is like the map of Iwella, which is just east of the fort. The fort is where you first start out as a character. Right, so he can communicate science to the general public so well too, in a way that normal people can use science for their advantage. Exactly, yeah, he's amazing. Like I can't. Oh, my alerts have no sounds. What? I have a donation. Sorry guys, I'm such a newbie. M1 Donato, thank you for the $20. Holy shit, I didn't expect to get a donation today. Holy shit. Are you trying to break the streamer? I really appreciate that. Thank you for following and thank you for the donation. This is amazing, man. Like, please put some W's for M1 Donato in chat. Thank you so much. Holy shit. What about crafting? What about crafting? What do you? Oh shit. So if you go in town with your weapons, the guards hate that, and there's actually a law against brandishing weapons. So you actually have to disarm your weapons. So the guards were like, you know, about to beat us up for working in the town with your weapons. I got distracted by the donation. I was like, what? Anyway, so my friend took a horse. Damn it! I rarely take horse because I always try to save coin. I'm so frugal in the game. So the other part is sleep. So okay, so I was saying that it's normal to have like a discontinuous sleep. What does that mean? It's like have a break in your sleep. And before we invented artificial lighting, actually this was the case. So if this happens to you, and there's a lot of like, you know, there's a lot of people that put out information that stresses people out, and often we stress ourselves out. Oh, I'm not sleeping too well. Oh, I keep waking up in the middle of the night. Oh, you know, I should go sleep, doctor, whatever. No, this is normal. What you do is, as I said, find something to do that exhausts you, and you can go back to bed. Try to, like, okay, I don't want to go into full like sleep. Actually, I could do a quick review of how to improve your sleep. One way is to actually at night have red light, and a lot of you know this. It's become common knowledge these days, thankfully. Reduce of blue light. So reduce white light as well, because it includes blue light. So you can have like some night lights. So, you know, if you wake up in the middle of the night, then you can just maybe read a book, you know, with your night light on, and just keep it only to red light. Or you can also probably use your computer if you have a good program to filter out blue light. I think a lot of smart TVs also do that. Like, there's a lot of devices now that do that, which is great. So then just keep yourself busy and go back to sleep. Now, the other thing is, a lot of people debate on length of sleep, and I think more or less, and this is for the population, like the white population, on average, you need to be sleeping around, oh crap, I didn't get any coins. Let me get coins. Yeah, I keep getting distracted in the game, it's fine. So yeah, 7.5 hours is on average a good sleep amount. And you have to take into account, and a lot of sleep applications or like Fitbits and stuff like that can actually help you keep track of where you are on the sleep stages. So like you know, at least 4 sleep stages. And depending on where you are, you might, you know, want to keep sleeping for a little longer, or, you know, wake up. And this is something that you can fine tune in a few different ways. You can either use an app, or you can use like a very simple sleep journal. So write down 2 things. Actually, only 3 things. It's very simple. Just a piece of paper. You write down the time you went to bed, the time you woke up, how are you feeling, and try to note down and figure out what happens, what goes on when you're having the greatest sleep. Like when you wake up, you should, you know, feel, in most cases, right, well rested, you know, ready to go, full of energy, good focus, and so on and so on. So then you can check in your sleep journal and see that, okay, maybe Phoebus was right. 7.5 sleeps is exactly right for me as well. Or maybe Phoebus was wrong. I need 8 hours exactly. There is variation there, right? So you need to figure out exactly what your value is, and there's also other factors that actually influence this. Like this can change over summer, winter. This can change over you moving to different time zone, especially if you move like from Australia to Canada or something like that. You need to readjust, and then you need to readjust your circadian rhythm. And Andrew Huberman also talks about this at every video. He says he goes outside in the morning and he lets his eyes gaze upon the blue sky, right? So we have this neuron in our visual pathway, and it's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And what this does is detects blue light, and once it detects blue light, it says to the rest of the body and kind of manages the hormones that, hey, it's daytime, you know, it's time to go to the fields or farm or hunt. Holy shit, that's a lot of wolves, or hunt or whatever. So keep a sleep journal, or you can find an app that just does this specific thing for you, right? Blue Sky, no such thing in UK. Well, the closest thing to Blue Sky, or you can use like sometimes you can use UV lamps. There's a thing like UV lamps that you can actually use, and these help you also do the same thing to adapt to day and night. So in the morning, you having your coffee, your tea, whatever, you can also use your UV lamp and try to actually. That's when you want to be looking at blue stuff. So take off all the blue filters in the morning, look at blue stuff all you want, like put like the, I don't know, Windows XP background, like, you know, in like a full screen, whatever, and enjoy as much blue as you can in the morning, but take away all the blue in the nighttime. And so that's how you kind of trick those systems to readjust you into having like a semi-regular sleep. But now on the sleep duration, and I know I'm taking a long time on this. The sleep duration, it's something that it depends on the individual, but the average value is 7.5 hours. Or you can say 4.5 times 90 minutes is the answer. And so all you need to do then is you need to fine tune this to yourself. And right, and as I said, there's a few factors to this. So if it varies, don't panic. This is actually normal. If it varies a little bit, if it varies a lot, then this is maybe something that you want to talk about with your doctor, and you might decide together that you want to have some more tests. You can like have a neurology basic exam, and then you can actually do a sleep study. Like if you have more issues with your sleep, then you can do a sleep study. And I'll shut up about sleep and try to catch up on chat. I've heard the brightness of light makes more of an impact than the spectrum. No, blue is very important. Have you heard of NSDR, non-sleep deep rest? Recommended it for me. It makes you focus your awareness from the environment to different parts of the body. Helps me sleep in 10 minutes. Yeah, that's a good technique. It works with some people, but I don't know, it works. I'm glad that it works for you. Blue Sky, no such thing. Oh yeah, I already read that. It still works, just takes longer. Like 40 minutes plus. Oh, sorry to hear that, Crank. Like Crank, we had discussed this in the past. I don't want to bring too much details on your personal case. I don't know if you want to talk about this. But yeah, I suggested the same thing to talk to a doctor and actually get a sleep study and push for, you know, a more detailed opinion and more detailed examination of what's going on with EEG, what's going on with the neurons and stuff. What else have I missed in chat? I was talking to Dark Lord saying you can get photon exposure on cloudy more. Oh yeah, exactly. I was saying about the same thing. So yeah, so in the morning, that's when you want to actually look at all the blue light you want to fully wake up. And like sometimes I drink coffee. What coffee does is it just plays on the hormone system and it tells your body that you're not as tired as you think you are, because it's basically, it counts like how many hours you've been awake and how tired you've been, and the action of coffee is to reduce that timer. So then your body says, okay, so we're not as tired as we thought we were. That's the only thing coffee does. But the blue light exposure, you know, drinking a lot of water to activate your body, doing some light exercise, there's some good ways to wake yourself up fully. I don't know where my hunting partner went. Maybe he's hunting some other shit out there. What else is going on in chat? I was talking, yeah. My mom has had sleep interruptions for a couple of years now. Sleep study might help her. Yeah, I think so. Like, she should, you know, talk with her GP, with her pathologist, or whatever else is called in your country, in your health system. And, you know, and go over some assessment, because a lot of times the reason why you need to do a medical assessment and not just go with what's in your mind is because there's so many medical conditions that have body effects, and there's so many body effects that have psychological effects, right? So you need to clear out, you need to clear out the basis, and who's better to do that than an actual doctor, right? So you go to a good GP. If you don't like your GP, just find a better one. But I'm not a doctor, you're not a doctor. I'm only a psychologist, and I'm also a tech guy. So I'm not a full-time psychologist. So I can only give you the information so you are better at managing your health, but then you need to actually work with the professionals, right? And I know, there's a lot of attitudes for doctors for how they work. They have too many patients. They are too clinical. They often don't have too much time for each patient. These are issues, but it doesn't mean that medicine doesn't work. Medicine does work. Just find another doctor or work with more doctors. And in some cases, you might even get to qualify for study, so you can work with scientists and doctors in some rare cases. And I'm actually very much in favor of that. I'm working on a health-related startup that's focused on improving well-being and managing health for people, and to always stay ahead on what's in the science for that stuff. But even I mean, I'm just the CDO CEO. I was, I guess, upgraded CEO because I was only the CDO at first. But I rely on the scientific board. So that's a doctor who is specialized on human metabolomics. So that's like all the chemical processes, all the cell processes that happen for us to stay alive, right? So that's a pretty complex area. So we look at a lot of information. I can't just by myself decide, oh yeah, this is what you should do. Anyway, in America, they spend twice as much time fighting to insurance than with the patient. Holy shit! Yeah, that sucks, man. Like, I wish this wasn't the case. I really like that. I mean, I like this. There was a documentary that went around the world and looked at all the different health systems around the world, and a few really piqued my attention. One of them is the French system that actually rewards doctors for keeping their patients healthy. And this is also what my health startup is actually trying to do, to stay ahead of the curve and not only deal with a patient when they become a patient, right? So you want to keep people as healthy as possible and to see things coming from not just a mile away, but 100 miles, and be ready and have done the best that we can do. How does click and drag to pull out name bars work? I'm using an option. There's an option somewhere, I forget what it's called, but you can explore it, where anything that you click and drag, it will pull out the names to the side for you, which is great because this also, it makes it easier to target things and to find enemies and stuff like that. And also another thing is you need to control the battlefield like normal martial arts. You need to actually make the decisions, not let the attackers make the decisions. And you need to prioritize what to kill first. I'm killing first the bloaties that explode and they also damage other. And then I kill the gore, heaps of gore, because they can also hit you so hard that you go off your feet and you can't move, so they root you. So I want to kill those first, right? So that I'm not stuck there. So it's very good to actually prioritize targets, because this place can be very challenging. Oh, my hunting partner is back. All right, now I can follow him and focus on chat more. That's the traditional Chinese model. Doc gets paid unless you get sick. Huh, wow. I mean, I don't know that much about the Chinese medicine and and how it works, so it's kind of like up in the air for me. So I don't have a very educated opinion on that matter. Like if their system has high efficacy or low efficacy, and then depending on what, right? Because for some things, Western medicine, quote unquote, might be better. For some things, maybe their system actually can be useful. I think they use a Western system now. Makes sense. Like, I'm big on having health prevention systems for the population, so everyone gets tested early, gets accurate testing, not just the general statistical things for the average population. I know that tests can be more expensive, maybe, or like insurance companies don't want to cover them, but I think there's no other way to go. Knowledge is power. If you don't know, you don't have an accurate history about your client, about your patient, how are you going to be able to suggest the best thing to them? How are you going to see, what predispositions they have to diseases? How are you going to, see diseases before they are full on? Like often, I think if the clinical stage of whatever disease is, it's like a continuum, right? So it starts at value 0, then goes to 1. But from 0 to 1, it's invisible to most people unless you do tests. Even from 0 to 4, it's still invisible. Hell, I'll even say that even from 0 to 8, sometimes it's invisible. Like some diseases, this is because of how the human brain works, how the pain system works. The pain system is diffused, right? So you don't know exactly where the pain is coming from. And doctors know this, neuroscientists know this, neuropsychologists know this, so they do, and neurologists know this, so they do a whole bunch of tests to actually figure out what a pain means, because it could be diffused by some other system, so the source of the pain is somewhere else, but it feels like it's something else. So the issue that I'm trying to draw attention to there is that most often diagnosis comes too late, and then you have a patient with a doctor that's trying to manage the disease at a late stage, right? And they always say this, oh, we wish we had found this earlier. Okay, 100% agreed. And my question is, how? How are you going to do that if you don't test? How are you going to do that if you don't, invest in like early testing and prevention and stuff like that? Do you think technology or manufacturing cost improvements could allow cheaper testing equipment facilities in the future? Yes, and yes. And I mean, there's even like big cases on that. There's people that have made, what do you call that? Like microscopes with like this pieces of paper and some lenses, right? It's like, and so if we made like, if we used small, cheap electronic circuits, and we made like testing devices, and we tested for accuracy and tried to make it more accurate, you could end up with much easier access to testing for a larger part of the population. Sadly, this is not what my company is into. We're looking for wealthier individuals that are interested in maintaining their health, at least for the first little while. I mean, you can call it the Tesla strategy. So Tesla came out with with a sports model that was expensive first to actually make it viable, otherwise it's not going to work. But this is something actually a country could adopt. So a country could, with the budget that countries have for national healthcare, they could actually do that. And I've always advocated for this. I was involved in politics. I'm not going to say which party and whatever, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're in it for the right reason, which is to fix stuff, help improve the world, and move things forward, right? Anyways, so now we're in Briar's Hollow, which is an area far north, and if you remember, we actually traveled there by horse. Horses are not actually available in the game. They're like a fast travel option, but you can't actually get a horse. They want the game to be a little slower moving. They want people to focus more on roleplay and to have like a slower experience in the game, so people have a chance to just chill out and roleplay with one another and stuff. Which is what we're doing right now. So basically none of them. Oh, actually, yeah, I was about to talk about France. France does this to a degree, which is very good. It's a very big country. So, if you're looking for example countries out there, is often you need to show people an example of something that you think will work. That's the best way to convince them. It's like, show me that it works. And I think in France it works. So why not copy France on that? And then there's so many other elements that go into human health. A big part of it is nutrition. A big part of it is CAT's area, which is also exercise. Exercise is huge. Like, our bodies are machines that are made to move, and if they don't move, they get rusty. This is, you can use that as an analogy. And I know this, and I'm still lazy, so yeah, I have no excuse. So I get it that it's hard. Like, yeah, I'm not saying, oh, you're just gonna snap your fingers and you've solved the issue. I meant politicians that cared about fixing. Oh no, actually, there's many more of them than you think. But the issue is that the politicians that are in it to help people, they don't know how to communicate that. They suck at communication, and I know this the hard way. So the good ones don't know how to tell you that, what their values are, what they really want to do. The rest are so good at convincing you of anything that, they make the good ones look like anyone else. It's a communication issue overall, I think. And also an education issue. Like, if we were better at picking them apart and knowing which ones are just, are just better at dialectics better at sounding smart than being smart and caring about helping people than actually helping people, then we would fix these things ourselves in democracies, right? But yeah, let's not go off too much into politics. At least let's not talk about the political directions, because that's where people get lost and things get very heated, and we stop communicating. So that's an even bigger communication issue. Communication is so important. Says Crank. I really want to improve my ability in that. Yeah, I'm also working in that. I mean, this is something that's good about trying to stream, is that you're trying to think about how to make things sound interesting, how to make things a bit more succinct, how to be a good storyteller. And our brain loves storytelling. Like, I remember seeing some research from neuroscience that were studying memory, and we were seeing that a lot of effects in memory seem to relate to a system inside our brain that loves attaching things to other things. Put in other words, a story, right? So you have characters, you have motivations, and these are things that you understand. These are things like us as a social animal, as a social monkey. We want to understand the world in this way. So when things are too far different, abstraction metaphor. Yeah, when things are too different, then it's so hard to learn something. Like, when you're in a classroom or university, or like you're doing engineering and somebody's giving you like a concept about apples and some Apple store and some bullshit, and you're like, your brain is like, how is this relevant? Right? It's not relevant. And that's what makes education boring. And my big disappointment at university level studies was exactly that, which is people that are studying this stuff not applying the stuff in their own courses. And I'm like, why don't you? We've known about this for 10 years now, 15 years now, that education needs to become more relevant, or in a psychological term, more salient. We still don't do it. We still like teach in a traditional way, and people are bored to F. And this then has an effect on our education level, society, which has an effect on the quality of politicians we choose. And it's like, goes round and round. Opinions on gene therapies. There are so many pharma companies doing clinical trials, and this is like sickle cell anemia. My opinion is that, of course, we need to try them out. Of course, we need to see if they work. Doing more research is always a yes for me, even if you don't have an application. And this is called like basic science or basic research, and these are foundational research that then we will find an application for. I'm always in favor of doing any and every research, and I'm in favor of also battling, I think, in science. I don't want to scare people away from science, but the scientific model has some problems, and these come from the politics around it again, like how scientific journals work, how they choose what papers are published, how the researchers themselves, how do they get funded, what are the terms of their funding. These are called grants. How are grants given? So these actually control the motivations behind research. I think that the public, us, or like the citizens of the world, make it more vague, should actually fund research. And to a degree we do through our taxes in many states. And I think that's a good thing. Actually, we need more of it, and we need to fund more types of research that we don't necessarily see an application for, because seeing an application then creates this effect that's called cognitive bias, of like confirmation bias. So you're looking for things that confirm what you already believe, or in this case, this version, you're looking for things that only relate to the application that you want. You want to make this, so you only look at that. But the funny thing in science is that a lot of discoveries have happened when the scientist or the scientific group was looking at something else. And they were looking at the data, they were paying attention, and they made a discovery. And they had no clue this was possible. If you look up their hypotheses, not just one, there are many hypotheses that they were testing. The results have nothing to do with the finding. If they weren't paying attention, if they didn't have a broad mind, if they didn't look at the data, if they didn't collect all the data except for only the data that supports their hypothesis, that makes them look good, we wouldn't have had the invention, right? So if we understand this, then why on earth are we funding research only based on results, only based on new shiny papers or new shiny discoveries, and discarding the failures, discarding the data from the failures, or even like, we shouldn't have a bad, like, in my opinion, it doesn't make you a bad scientist if your hypotheses fail. You should actually be recommended, you should be commended for publishing your methods, how you made your research, your data, and everything, including, all the papers and all the experiments that don't prove the hypothesis, don't prove, what the researchers first thought about this subject. Now, you guys, I'm gonna have to, get you to, I don't know, like, ask more questions in chat, contribute more to chat, because I'm a new streamer and I need to survive until Showjack wakes up, and I've only streamed for, I know it's only been an hour and 40 minutes, but this is hard for me. I read a bit about education, construction, deconstructionism, cool. Social and neuro seems like they would, oh, what the hell is this? Oh, okay. It's like an event in the game that comes up when you go close to this corpse. Okay, so it chose to kill them to be more compassionate, I guess. What was I reading? Oh, okay, neurosim. Okay, I'll start over, Krunk. So Krunk says, I read a bit about education, constructionism, deconstructionism, social, and neuro seem like they would be a good combo. Would love to hear your thoughts on the subject. I'm not sure what you're asking though. So come on guys, there's 85 of you. I expected your ping to be more with where the server is. Very nice. I know, right? I mean, the server I think is in the US, and the ping is only, like, right now actually the ping is a little high because I'm also streaming. So this actually affects the speed, and there's another player here that's just popped up. He's asking if everyone's okay. Let's read more about this character. He says, I saw the Carters on the road. Okay, so this is some, impromptu roleplay. And yeah, it seems they didn't take you off. And I'm gonna say, how do you mean that? And it tries to study their face, so this gives the person a prompt to actually give you more information about what their character is feeling. Ideas for models of education incorporating your theories for optimizing learning, says Crank. The text of the game is illegible. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I'll try to read everything up, Vinay. What else? It's a bit open-ended. Okay, well, can you make it more specific right now? Because I'm trying to multitask and not assisting Cat's chat, where I'm more focused on your question. I can't, I don't know. I'm not that good of a streamer yet to be doing gaming and talking to this level as easily, so bear with me. Anyway, so in game, the guy says, I was disconcerted you were being dragged off by the undead. This has been happening a lot more. Tell us more. And no, where is this? Fine. But thank you. Oh shit. Thank you for checking with us. Yeah, I'm not sure I can actually zoom into the text more. Like, I can zoom into the character more. Let me know if that's more fun for you to see. Like, it probably makes more sense that I should probably be zoomed in more, right? Let me know. So you can like look at a character's paper doll. You can see what they hold and what they're wearing. And this is like a two-handed fighter, from what I see. What else did he say? He said, I found tortured bodies, torn limb from limb. Oh shit. As I was passing through, I just wanted to make sure you were not the next victims. Where was this? Yeah, maybe somebody, some psycho killer character going around killing people. I don't know. So this is a guy called Gerald Dearth. I'm not sure if met this guy with my character side. So you have to roleplay that you don't know his name. I know this is something you have to do manually. A beautiful man, I'm reading his description. A beautiful man, head to toe, young, brushed, boisterous, and charismatic that when he walks into a room, people notice. His bald pate almost seems to glisten in the candlelight. His muscles press against his tidily well-fitting clothing. His beard is trimmed perfectly, not a hair out of place. He stands at about 6 feet tall and well-muscled frame. His eyes are the sparkliest blue with a hint of sharp heads to the gaze. Okay, he's shaking strokes his well-groomed beard and thinking about what he's going to say next. Right, guys, let me know if you have any more questions about role-playing or any other questions that are kind of more well-defined and easy for me to answer. Is, you know, oh, that tool there is giving me back the arrows. Thanks, tool. Okay, I'm just gonna call him tool for short. All right. So we have an impromptu role-playing session, and we run into another character. He motions towards the building to the south. Okay, so he found like some bodies in the south. Do you think VR, AR would be good for education? I think so, yes, especially because they can make education much more relevant, much more salient, so you can actually like put education in a kind of a game mode where it's like a real world that our brain is evolved to attune to, right? So we have been living in a real environment, in like the forest, in like many different kind of environments and scenarios, and these are what our brain considers important, right? So if you're just talking about apples and an Apple store, like a lot of math problems, brains are like, what the hell? Sure, let's investigate. So we're gonna investigate these dismembered bodies and try to find out what's happening, apparently. Yeah, let's try and invite him to the party, see if he wants to join. Yeah, my character's concerned for him since like maybe there's like a murderer out there somewhere. It's a whole bunch of rotting undead bodies. All right, so we're just going to continue our hunt for now and run around. Hey guys, let me know if you have any questions about role-playing. For those that just tuned in, we're playing on this world called 13 Thrones Requiem, like Requiem for a Dream, and it's as dark as the movie, really, or darker. So this is the place that we're playing. You can just go to the website, and then you go to connect, and you can download the files that you need. I'm hoping to have VR brain surgery where the patient behaves differently based on excisions. Well, you don't have to do you don't have to do excisions to check what happens when you disable a brain area. You can actually do there's many methods. One of them is actually TMS, and TMS is kind of like I forget the initials right now. You can Google that, Crunk, and put it in chat if you can. But basically, you use focused magnetic beams to turn off certain brain areas, and you can also do TMS therapy for a lot of neuropsychological or even psychological disorders. And actually, TMS has pretty good efficacy rates for a lot of stuff out there. It's just that it's harder. Like there's many there's fewer clinics that have the TMS apparatus. It's a little expensive and it requires training to use properly. Yeah, transcranial magnetic simulation. Yeah, TMS. Yeah. There's so many acronyms, I don't always remember all of them. I know what they mean, but yeah, there's too many acronyms, man. I'm here to stay to change money. Yeah, I don't do that. So Till is up to something here. This is actually an area where that's kind of friendly to mages. It's called the Blue Lantern. And it's some area where, you know, you're not frowned upon if you're a kind of more magical, spiritual person and that kind of stuff. Unless your magic kind of comes out of faith, out of the gods and stuff like that. It's a like divine favor. Then, you know, your magic will be shunned in the rest of the world and you will be hunted and there will be a pyre in your name. Well, sounds exciting. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So in the Blue Lantern, there's actually a lot of like magical elements of the game. A lot of weapons. Like I'll show you my weapon. I have this bow that has some magical elements to it. I think it's this one. We can lower the item. His eyes dart left and right, being cautious. Okay, seems to be very observant, but without moving as much. Yeah, my character has 120 perception, so he's always like noticing everything. And there's also like a detect hidden script that I run. It's actually it's legal to have some scripts with some complexity. So you can that way, you know, every so often he can look for hidden items. So if you have like a rogue that's like running around hidden, yeah, this thing can happen here. So you have a rogue that's like hidden right next to you when he's robbing coins out of your pocket. It says quietly to the man next to him. Okay. It says this place is for heretics. Not my area of expertise. I'm a tactician. Bowman. Two-handed. How about you? I think I've met this character before, but I'm not 100%. Okay, guys, any other question? Is your character a witch hunter or sympathizer? Well, neither. He is kind of like a bit of a gray zone character. He goes on a case-by-case basis and tries to figure out if a particular magician, because magic is something that's super powerful in this world, and because it's so powerful, it's also corrupting. So the issue is that, and you can roleplay your mates this way, right? The issue is that people that use magic too much, sometimes they go a little insane. Like the magic kind of like, they can't handle it, your body can't handle all this, like all the wilderness. So it may actually end up making your character kind of crazy. So he's not a sympathizer, but you know, like he will interview people like that and try to figure out where they are on the crazy not crazy made spectrum, or you know, if they're actually a risk to society. If they're super unstable, then he will probably, you know, not be their friend. Fencing and mercantile, you may have heard of my family's brand, House Dearth. Oh, I think I remember you now. You were from a very rich, famous Eastern Baronese family, right? It's a bit of a psychologist in there. Yeah, I guess like I wanted to make a more nuanced character. My other character is much more dumb than this one, so he's like kind of like, if you're simply just afraid of mages, because you know, the lower intelligence of character you have, the more afraid of the unknown he should be, right? So that's how I roleplay my other character. But this character, his mother was very intelligent, and she may have been like a person that really understood a lot about the divine and a lot about the world. So he's learned to be a bit more nuanced about stuff from her. Now, his dad was kind of like a carpenter and also bowman, so he learned that stuff from him, though he's forgotten everything about carpentry. But now he's like more focused on just fighting. House Dirt, you could say that, I suppose. We had met a long time ago in the fort. It's more clear to me now. You know, you meet so many people, the names begin to elude you. Right, so we're having a little, you know, impromptu roleplay session. This is what you expect in this world. You run to the characters, and each character has a different background, which then informs how they play and how they're going to interact with you. Sorry. I'm just gonna check a little bit on my buddy. All right, 1 second, guys. But I'm trying to get myself to my buddy Shojak to wake up. I don't know how long I can stream. But guys, don't lurk. Please ask me questions in chat. Like you know, new streamers, we need help to actually keep talking, so the stream doesn't end up stale or boring and you guys run away. Because I do want to also like introduce you guys to Sojax. He's an amazing, energetic streamer. I'm not, you know, I'm not fully energy. I'm more like, you know, big brain kind of deep thoughts. But that, you know, with that comes a little bit more like chill, a bit more, you know. It's some people. This is more boring in Twitch, right? You don't want to be talking to professional in Twitch. It's kind of boring stuff. Did I miss something? Oh, right. I have to invite him to the party. Okay, I zoned out. 1 sec. Stop moving. 1 sec. God damn it. He can't hear me. All right. Where are we? Oh, how did I already invite him to the party? How did I end up here? I ended up behind that store somehow. All right. Okay. Let's follow him. Now I'm gonna get our bow back on. Probably mostly AFK, asleep, I would guess. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to interact too much, which is too bad. Like, if I don't know, like for a lot of streamers, the chat is, you know, like it's part of the hangout. I mean, to me, I mostly watch small streamers for most of my Twitch viewing, or the bigger streamers that I watch are still very good at interacting with chat. Like I like to actually have a little bit of a discussion with a streamer. Otherwise, I could just watch YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference between watching YouTube? In fact, in some cases, I mean, if a streamer is like, I don't know, has like 30,000 or whatever, I mean, it can still be fun to watch, but it's almost the same to. Oh shit! I might have to actually focus on this fight. There's a lot of like highwaymen that patrol these bridges and kill victims in the night that so small streamers, you always you can get, you know, a conversation, so it's a lot more fun. You can actually get to meet the person, understand a little bit about them. And to me, this is a lot more fun than just, I don't know, saying things in chat that don't make sense, or just mashing emotes. Sorry about that, I'm just a little bit more focused on fighting. Was it a spell or missile weapon? This is something that my bow has a bit of a magical, some magical ability, so it will actually throw out some like firebolts every so often or something like that. Actually, let me try to read it because I don't even remember what it is. So if you read it, it has like a hit curse. So it has a where is that? 1 second, let me loot that. Okay. Gives percentage chance to cast spell curse. Oh wow. And hit curse, so it increases the hit rate, I think. And then it has hit magic arrow, 14% chance. So 40% chance of actually casting magic arrow. And what else? And then you have your, there's a leech. So it will actually leech HP from whatever you're attacking, which is also pretty cool. Like, I think it did that now. And there's also... Oh, holy crap! Jax is almost awake, guys. My torture is almost over. Please stay with me so we can have a good raid with my buddy Jax, who's also a friend of Cat. And I'm going to also, you know, get you guys, whoever is not on Cat yet, I will get you guys to follow Cat, please, before we go. C's amazing. I promise. C runs a very good stream, much more entertaining than me, as it doesn't talk about boring science all day. But C's also C's a very well educated workout and how would you say that? Coaches people with workouts and nutrition and that kind of stuff. She's amazing. She's very well, very much also into the science, but she's not as boring as me. She's not as dry as me. So give her a follow and join me. Like I'm usually on Cat stream, and this is how we got this raid. I'm very thankful for. And very soon, please hang out. Jax is just waking up. I think he's just gonna get some coffee. So give him a chance. Give him a chance to. Oh yes, he's a personal training nutritionist. Yeah. So thanks, Crunk. You're saving the stream, man. Like if you're interested in modding, Crunk, if you have the time to mod for my channel, and I don't stream very often, so you don't have to do very much. You're welcome. Like if you want, I'll mod you right now. Because you are the savior of the stream. I need people to ask me stuff. I need people to prompt me. Otherwise, I get bored, and I don't want to stream. You know, I'm not as good as talking endlessly. Actually, I'm a person that I'm not a talker overall. Like I like to think I'm more of an introvert, and you know, and for an introvert to stream, that's already pushing it, you know. It's already out there. You're doing very well, I think. Okay, well, thank you, Crunk. I appreciate that, and especially given like you watch so many streams, so you're a pretty good. Cake says, "People keep going, don't stop." All right, Cakes, thank you, appreciate that. I'm also watching the chat on Jax's channel. All right, so we're just hunting some highwaymen that jumped us in the middle of the bridge. So this is the kind of stuff that you experience in the game. And of course, you know, it makes sense that highwaymen would come out at night, right? Because at day they would be chased and they'd probably put to jail or put to death for trying to rob people, right? So it's like everything kind of makes roleplay sense in the game, right? So they're taking a lot of effort to kind of make everything make sense. So it's not like completely random events or random people, random things coming out to kill you. So this is what I like about the game, is like once you get really into it. Ever run into PC highwaymen? Yes, those exist too. There was a person not long back that actually took over the gates and entryway to Iwella, which is like one of the hunting paths, and he was actually taxing people to get in there, right? Because a lot of people depend on, you know, killing zombies to get coins in that area. And this player decided, hey, this is a good choke point. Might as well set up shop here and start charging people to get in. And of course, if you don't charge, then you give him a reason to come out and slap you or attack you. Right? So yeah, so you have players that actually take this role as well. And you could also take this role, but you have to be prepared for it because actions have consequences. So if you get discovered, the players are going to want to take you down and want to stop you from doing that, or they're probably, you might actually even like get to roleplay, you know, crime, because there's an investigator in the court and he actually does investigate crime, and you might get charged, you might be jailed, you know, it would be fun roleplay. And this is the cool thing, is that actions have consequences. You can be criminal, you can be a good guy, you can be anything you can dream of inside of the world reality, right? So you can't roleplay Superman. Krunk says, how do you know I watch a lot of streams? Krunk, because we're in those streams together, buddy. So Krunk, are you going to take on my offer to mod you in the channel? Because I think you're actually a good candidate for modding here. We always have good discussions together, and I mean, if you have time and you want to drop by, you can always help me to keep the discussion more interesting, because otherwise by myself I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. It's like, I don't know. So yeah, so you see the highwaymen are always like, you know, at choke points, right? So you need to cross this bridge, and unless you're a magician, there's no way around it. You have to go through the bridge, and there they are. It makes sense, right? So it makes roleplay sense that you would run into highwaymen at a choke point, not randomly anywhere. So often I try to attack the lowest HP thing first. It depends on how beefy things are, of course. But it's a good strategy just to clear up the baddies. It's like EVE Online. I don't know if you guys play EVE Online. Listen, August, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So like EVE Online, it's good to like focus fire. I played EVE Online since 2005. I'm a huge EVE Online nerd, and I used to also be a mercenary in EVE Online, so we were hired by other people to damage their enemies. I've never modded, and I can't promise I'll be in future streams, but I can be trusted with the sword. It's okay, buddy. I mean, you don't need to be a PhD in modding to mod in my channel. So yeah, I'm gonna mod you. You can just, I don't know, Google how to mod. It's not so hard. And generally, I don't want to ban people. Generally, I'd rather like give them a couple chances. But if they're really bad, if they, you know, keep attacking other people, make people feel uncomfortable, yeah, you can time them out. But so for now, it's easy. Just time some people out. I don't know, help me keep the place kind of interesting, a bit more entertaining, and that's all. And just have fun. I mean, I believe, I don't know if this is working in my stream, but I believe if the streamer has fun, then, you know, watching that streamer is also fun. If the streamer is doing something kind of by force and it's like too forced, and then it's kind of like it's not that much fun to watch. This area is actually called Riverside, and it has a very cool choke point. And a few years back, in a different chapter of the game, with a completely different character, with a completely different faction, we took that place over to actually help like secure all the place that's to the south of it, which is called the Plantation. And the Plantation is like a farming area, and it used to be the center of the game in this previous chapter. So the fort is only in the center of the game in this chapter. Sure. To the refugees, I guess we're going to continue our hunt. So this is the fast travel system, and it has a whole bunch of destinations, and right now we're just going to choose the refugee camp. So despite, you know, if we don't have horses in the game, but you have this fast travel system, and cost coin, right? Unless you have a faction, you can have factions in the game. You can even like, you can take over whole areas. You can build anywhere. You can like take, you know, you can claim land in the game, and you can build anywhere. So it has a lot of like very sandbox features that you may not find anywhere else. So that's what kind of sets it apart. And then you can have your own faction, and you can fight with the other factions for dominance, or you can work with them. You can make alliances. You can do whatever you want. It's like, you know, in many respects, it's a full sandbox, except for certain areas that are, you know, controlled by the dungeon masters, right? So the fort is an area for new players, and you want new players to have access to the same stuff, to have a similar, a fair kind of way to develop their characters. So the fort is controlled by game masters, by the dungeon masters, in the D&D term. So, you know, it's an area where you can actually, even as a factions get to influence the fort, right? So it's not like it's above influence by the players, but it's more standardized, it's more in control, so that new players can actually have a good chance to develop their character, so they don't, you know, it's not unfair to new players. But everything is influenced by roleplay. So you actually you get to influence the world. You get to be a factor in the world, and get to actually make a difference. What you do in the game matters. What you do in the game changes things. And especially if you... Oh, my buddy actually got off the horse much sooner than me, so we have to run up there. Oh, this is one of the refugee camps where you see like a lot of like survivors that come to the province to escape the torment from other areas of the world where the sickness, the torment, has taken over these lands, and it's no longer survivable. And these people have to, they're refugees that have to come to this province to try to survive. But this province also has the torment a little bit. Did they add those in mods, or were they built into the original game? This is all custom. None of this is the original game. The original game has a completely different map, completely different logic. The skills work differently, crafting works differently. It has nothing to do with the original game. So if you read how to play Ultima Online on the original server, and you come here, you're gonna have a tough time. It's not like that. So you actually have to read about this place. This place is very unique. And you could play this place if you've never played Ultima Online before, because it bases heavily on roleplay. So the speed of the game is not insane, right? So if you're not like a very PvP oriented person that's very competitive gaming, and you want to chill out, you want to make a character that is kind of a bit more laid back and just hangs out in town and just talks to other people, you can do that here. You don't necessarily have to be like my character, going out and risking his butt to hunt and stuff like that. You can actually just chill out in the fort and just roleplay with other people and just have fun. Or even like use it to have like your dark romantic erotic fantasies. You can play them out here with other people, and you can make a character nobody knows about. So there you go, that's a hint right there. But you know, as I said before, just make sure you always establish consent with the other playing parties. I'm not super into that, you know. I'm not like that, but I'm also not judging. So if you want to do that, that's fine by me. I mean, I've sort of done that. Like in many different servers, I had relationships with my characters, and with some of them, oh holy shit, I inadvertently looted a head, and I don't want a head in my backpack. Thank you very much. I'm not that dark. But if I was a dark mage, if I was a blood mage, these people actually collect body parts to do their dark magic stuff. I'm not even sure how that fully works. I've never roleplayed that mage. Can you make a really fast character that can run away from PvPers? Yes. There are skills that actually make you run really fast. There's a sprint skill, and there are skills that will actually make you a faster runner. Yeah, so you can actually just run away from there are ways to always get away from getting killed by PvP. You can just run away, you can roleplay and escape. You don't always, you know, have to just die. So that's why we have initiation. But sometimes you might not be able to escape it. You might get trapped by another player. So, you know, it's a possibility that I wanted to go around through the indent cap. Okay, sure. Oh shit, I'm typing in caps. All right, so we're gonna continue on through the undead. Jax just woke up for a little bit. He looked at the screen and then I think I don't know if he's prepping up or if he went back to bed. Hopefully he's prepping up for the show. Alright, so this is another part of an undead camp that's a little more northwest to the initial fort where you started out. And this used to be, like, this here used to be one of the areas that had one of the tough to kill bosses. Actually, I think it was like a huge amalgamation of flesh or something like that. And you need to, like, experiment a little bit to find out how to kill it. I could kill it at some point by myself, but depending on the hard part, you might want more people on your side to actually be able to take it on. So these are some mages. An apostate, that's like a mage that's not, ascribed to the mage circle, so he's like, probably practicing forbidden magic. Again, most magic is forbidden except for divine, and even for divine, the case is not clear, it's not quite easy to say. You can't run around and say, oh yeah, I can cast spells, guys. It's like, no, don't do that. You might be able to, discover people that are friendly to magic that you can hunt with. But you have to be very careful. You have to just not trust anyone on that. So then that also makes your character, your mage, unless your mage makes other mage friends. Unless your character doesn't mix other mage friends, then it will be harder to socialize, so you'll be a little bit by yourself for some of it. But there's other mages out there. I think there's like some factions that are friendly to mages, and of course they're very far from the fort and they're very far from all the authorities that would normally want to crucify your character or like put you up in chains or like use you for kindling in the fire. And in this game there's a religion that kind of resembles a little bit Christianity, but it's more like the Mithranistic part of Christianity, so it's more like focused on the sun god kind of type deal. And a big part of it is fire. They are very kind of obsessed with fire, like cleansing things by fire and stuff like that. So mages have to be cleansed by fire. Are most of the player base generally friendly or hostile? I would say most of the player base is friendly, as far as the eye can see. So you don't know if they're hostile or not. So I would say, like real life, don't trust anyone too much. You can, they can be friendly enough, but it doesn't mean that they're gonna play their cards open. So it doesn't mean that you will know what they're really about. So people can be a bit duplicitous. That's a bit of the fun. I'm just letting you know, so you're not disappointed. Don't take things at face value in the game. People have altered motives. People can be role-playing a dark character with a cover story. Actually, in the previous chapter, I was role-playing, in the previous 2 chapters, because that character died, I was role-playing a character called Vasan Dukas, who was loosely based on the TV show Dexter. I wanted to role-play a character like Dexter. And this guy, because there's no lab technicians in the game, so his cover story was actually being a priest and like being a Templar and a religious fighter. So he used this cover to get away with murder in more than one occasions. But he also used a kind of Dexter's code. So he was a bit of a vigilante that didn't apply proper judicial steps, like he didn't care about, or he went after like the Dexter story. I don't know if you watch the series. I mean, it's not a huge spoiler because that template is visible from the start of the show. That character Vasan was punishing and going after criminals of all sorts, and if they broke the code, then they were targeted, and I actually roleplayed like cutting them up and dropping them off in the pier. So yeah, so I did a full Dexter, but a couple chapters down the road, that character became too much his cover identity. And he started becoming actually a pillar of the community, and he stopped going out so much to kill and dismember people, and he was actually one of the most kind of like loved members of the community, because he was always looking after people. He was cooking for people, he was offering them food, like, and this actually fits with the Dexter background, because if you remember Dexter, always every morning he would show up at the office with a big box of donuts, right, to sweeten people up, right, to be above and beyond this suspicion. But eventually, for my character, Basim, because your characters in this world are allowed and should develop, right? So you should develop based on your background, but develop from your background and be influenced by what happens in the world, be influenced by other players. Patient Goat on Sojax is like, never give up on yourself or your dreams. Thanks for the support, buddy. But yeah, hopefully Sojax is gonna wake up soon. So my character kind of like grew out of the Dexter kind of mold, but then he became like a pillar of the community in the end, and nobody knew that this character used to run around and killing people. And it's kind of cool that like throughout the whole game, nobody actually knew the full depths of the character. So you have the background that's very unique, and you don't necessarily have to share it with people, or you can share with people through the filters that your character has built to survive. So if you're a mage, I guess you are sort of in that category. You're not a character that you can just go around yelling to people, "Hey guys, I'm a mage, you know, magic is great." People are gonna be like, "What? Like, get this guy in the pie right now, we're all in danger." So people are screaming in town and stuff like that. It's what you should expect playing a mage. Yeah, I mean, even my character is afraid of mages because magic is super strong. And I think it's also better roleplay, of course, aside from the fact that they're super strong. Better roleplay to be scared of them, because my character is not a mage. He understands enough to support himself and to stop magic spells from working him. So it's like a skill called Morton Dole. Holy shit! I didn't expect to see you here. It's so nice to see you drop by. I'm talking very big about role playing in this kind of like very retro game. Is the kind of first MMORPG that was ever created, and I'm playing on this server that's very heavy into roleplay. So I'm kind of going through. Oh, you're happy to be here. I'm so happy you are here. Holy shit! I feel like I'm dreaming right now. Like I'm just playing on your stream and interacting with you. I didn't expect things to change. Being a small streamer, you don't think if you're ever gonna make it to the next level. So, or if you're gonna find the strength to stream another day, or like as long as I have today. Like I've been streaming for 2 hours 20 minutes, and I'm like counting the time. But now, for my friend Sojax to wake up, because we're rating him next, and he's a very high energy individual. Much like you guys, I think you guys would really like each other because you're both like so high energy. I'm not so high energy. I'm like, I probably put some people to sleep and they're like slowly passing off into the dreamland over here, hearing about my escapades into the role-playing worlds and how to roleplay and stuff like that. It was just, I don't know, like it's something that I think I can talk. I can talk a lot about, or I can also talk a lot about philosophy, science, and stuff like that. So yeah, so playing a magic character, you want to slowly you want to make a lot of friends. You want to have a lot of support out there. Crank says, a fellow Texan animal-loving weirdo. Doll says, vibes for everyone. All energies work. Yeah, all energies can work. Maybe I just need more time to find my crowd out there that I don't put to sleep with my lower energy voice. But yeah, so these are some tips to roleplay mage. Although I don't recommend you roleplay mage for your first character. Just make a simple character, like a warrior type, or like a, I don't know, bowman, or some sort of, or like a crafter is actually good. You can just chill with crafting, because as a crafter you don't risk very much. all you have to do is go to gathering areas where you can gather source materials like wood and ores to do metal stuff, or you actually have all these kind of plants that you can gather, create all of these kind of like chemicals or potions, or actually this medicine is a part of the game. Yeah, medicine is a part of this game. So it's like it's a true Renaissance world. So you have like medical science is beginning in steps, and one of the big quests in the game is to find a cure for this huge disease called the torment that's killing a lot of people and infecting a lot of stuff. So you have doctors in the game, and the medical system is actually really complex, and it doesn't just depend on memorizing some stuff. You actually have to think through the diseases. You have to think through and try to understand the whole logic behind it, and it resembles what we understood about medicine, like in the medieval times, more or less, but a little bit more advanced. So you have a lot of the tools that they use and a lot of the stuff, and it's kind of fun, but it's also kind of scary because it's much more brutish and rudimental than medicine now, right? So you don't have as much, like there's actually some topical anesthetics in the game, and so there's some anesthesia, but nothing like modern day surgeries. So let's gonna say this was a very good hunt. We made the roads a bit safer tonight. Miles slightly. Right, so very nice of you, Morton Dole, to come in. I'm actually gonna give you a shout out so people can go follow you, because I think you are an amazing person, amazing streamer, and you're so high energy. You always make me feel good when I'm in your stream. Each and every time, you always interact with all your viewers very well, and you're just an amazing person, in my opinion. Like, as far as I can see, you're an amazing person. So guys, if you're not following Morton Doll yet, if you wanna see like a super high energy stream, a super high energy person that's almost always happy, like you're happy even in your bad days. Like, I don't know how you do that. You're so much, says Doll. I think you're amazing too. Well, not as much as I think you're amazing. You're more amazing. No, you. So guys, go follow up Morton Doll. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for Sojak to get back online. He's still kind of like maybe going through his morning routine. And in the game, we actually got 49 silvers. Wow, that's a nice little loot. Okay. Okay, so let's do 13 and let's do 20. I'll give him a bit more coins for bleeding on. The rest is yours and a bit extra for being the shield elite. Morning routine of laying down for hours with his eyes closed. Right? So yeah, this was a very successful hunt. So what we do usually after a hunt, we just go back to the town and chill out in a tavern to head back to town. And so characters can like heal the wounds, and then you have the system. You click on Codex, you go on the body tab, you see how much grit you have left. This ties into the healing system. So here you don't have bandages. You have this concept called grit, which is like your character's power and ability to withstand in the world and to be successful in the world. So that's kind of substitutes the idea of a healing system here. Also, as I said, your character actually needs to drink and eat. So now we're just going to drink a little bit of cider. And it's just going to be bad and just throw the thing away. It's going to decay. Although there's also, trash cans. So strength and health combined. Yeah, it's a concept like that. So it's more like it makes a bit more roleplay sense in this world. So you don't just have like bandages. And this grit, it recovers when your character is resting. Like, like it would make sense. So if you go back to a populated town, an inn, or like generally a very peaceful area, you will see a message that says your spirit or your character feels at peace here or protected or whatever, and you will start to also regenerate grit. That's a wild animal. I guess my friend is hunting it for its hides. So yeah, and that also makes it gives you a reason, gives your character a reason to go back to town, go back to the fort, and that's where you will meet most of the people. Parasympathetic activation. Yeah, it's close to you know, the neuropsychology of human bodies in a way, and biology. So right now we're just exploring around with our friend Tulador, and he's we're gonna take a horse there to cut on the trip. So this is the fast travel system, and actually depending on where you are, it might unlock more locations, because if you're further north, there's more locations, further south there's more locations. And this is the fort. It's the place where you begin your life as a character, but you don't have to stay there. Like a lot of people make their own factions. I'm actually going to disarm the boat, because at some point we go inside the city and they don't really love if you come in holding your weapons. They freak out, and the guards will give you a few chances, but then they will attack you. So they'll give you warnings. Don't ignore the warnings, because it's illegal to actually brandish your weapons. It's illegal to show your weapons inside of the town, because you know, you don't want people attacking others in town. You know, there's law, there's, you know, things that you need to abide by. This is an area that's slightly southeast from the fort. There's like a little bridge there. You can see the map here. This is part of the fort. This is actually the church, one of the churches. And this is another, like, this is a newbie area. This is where you should be hunting. Like if you make a new character, you should hunt here in the newbie area, which is slightly east of the fort. And there's weaker opponents here. And there's also a dungeon designed for new players. So you have a more fair start, and you don't have to actually compete with other players to hunt. And you can train up your character without having, you know, that much of a challenge in a way. No, my friend actually stopped at the undead camp to hunt even those. So it's like a cemetery, and you know, the undead are rising from the ground because of these mages who have been experimenting with bringing back the undead. Somebody just threw a short spear here instead of the trash. So, usually after a hunt, what I like to do is sort all my items, put away all the coins. And copper coins are really heavy, so you want to get rid of them. We got some food on the way, but it's not really high quality. So for now, I'll just keep it. My hunger level is 102, goes up to 111-ish. So you can overeat, you can overdrink, but not by much. Like if you overdo it, then you can't anymore. So this is the bank system, and actually you have copper coins, silver coins, and gold coins. And you can exchange them depending on what you need to buy. I would recommend you have some silver coins on you, or you can leave them in the bank. Some places you can buy items, like in a lot of the markets, there's a lot of vendors you can actually interact with. You just double click on them and you can buy items that you need. And if you don't have the coins on you, actually they will be subtracted from your bank account. So that's convenient. And recently they added, for crafters, they added craft storage. It's this guy here that actually gives you access to a box. This didn't used to be the case. So it's a very nice update, because if you're a new crafter, you don't have a house, you don't have a place to gather more materials, and you can just put crafting materials in here. So it even solves the need to actually have a house and a claim, which, you know, costs money, costs maintenance to keep. So now if you're a new crafter, it's even easier to actually start out. and try out crafting and see what you like. So this is one of the taverns, you know, where people just come to chill. I'm going to turn off my lantern because it's really expensive. This is a hip lantern that actually doesn't use space on your arms, and it's super cool because it allows you to have lighting, and lighting actually increases your stats. Actually, if you're in the complete darkness, you lose some of your strength, you lose dexterity, you lose some of your stats. But you can bring some of those stats back by having a lighting source. Usually there's lanterns or things you can hold, like a torch or a lantern, but then you don't, like, you can't use two-handed weapons. You can only, you know, hold the lantern if you have a one-handed weapon in strategy. But then you may want to actually be able to hold the shield or something else as well. So with the hip lantern, you actually don't need to be holding it, you just attach it to the hip. But because this is smaller, like, they've thought of everything roleplay wise. You need to actually fill it not with like a candle, so you need like a refined oil, and that's expensive, and that runs out. And you know, it's like an energy, you know, part of the game, so you actually need to, like, you know, go to the foundry, and they have like they actually have like a small factory, like a proper factory. And so you go to the foundry, and that's where you can buy more refined oil. But I think it's like 10 silver coins. Yeah, I mean, it lasts a while. It lasts for like 1230 minutes. Yeah, they're all player created except for the mineral oil that only the foundry can actually create. Because right now, I mean, in the game, the foundry is the most advanced faction. Time to relax a bit, says Tulador. Yes, this was a very long patrol, but a rather good one. What did you think of that guy, Jarlel? Have you met him before? So that's the other guy we run into, who is like some sort of nobility figure that comes from the Eastern Baronies. Yeah. Now let's sort through the rest of our items. We also got a torch. Torches are kind of fun because you can light them and you can just put them down, and they light up a whole area. We also got some ale. Do you drink this? Feel free. Yes, once or twice here. Nods a bit. But what do you think about him? All right, guys, give me a second here. Tilder says he chuckles. Thanks, but I took enough booze from the highwayman. Alright, well, I don't drink very much, so keep it for later. What else we loot? We looted a couple of items that maybe I looted by accident. Oh no, I looted this on purpose because I want to grind it up. So the cool thing is that the foundry has a source of energy that's steam, so they're using steam power, right? So they're putting in coal or logs to then operate steam equipment, and they actually even generate electricity. So you're like, you know, you're Renaissance era, but you have also like a bit of steampunk kind of elements to the game. This makes it even more interesting in my opinion. And they also have like some industrial equipment, and one of them is like an industrial grinder. And you can take anything that you don't need there and grind it to its initial parts to some degree. I mean, you lose some of the material, but it's more useful than, you know, throwing away the item to the recycling bin, for example. So, Narrowin, hey, I see me, XD. Hi, Amon. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you in the chat. Guys, this is Narrowin. Narrowin, this is the chat. feel free to tell them about. Oh, cool. Nice to meet you. I didn't know you played Tula, actually. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Feel free to tell people about this game. Like, I'm trying to also introduce the game to people who don't play Ultima Online, and I've been doing my best to, explain parts of the game. But if you have any ideas or stuff that we should also cover, I covered a lot. Oh shit! This piece of food that we looted a long time ago is already rotten, so we can't eat that anymore. So note to self to actually throw that out. Very cool game. Join the dark side and get a free cookie. All right. Well, I don't know if that's convincing enough. I don't know if you can think of other cool things about the game that I may have not thought about so far. Feel free to mention them. So it'll help people get an idea if they want to play the game or how the game works when they do decide to join us. What else, guys? For anyone tuning in now, the game is available on this website here. It's called 13thrones.com. And you can just go there. I'm too zoomed in now, so I've actually broken their website. Normally it looks like this. And it's a medieval grimdark role-playing environment. So it's like a very kind of like dark anti-hero kind of environment where you don't play people like Superman. You play people that are, mortals that... Cookies are a great incentive, says Morton Doll. Yeah, I guess it's not a bad idea. So yeah, it's one of the oldest and some of the best role-playing worlds using this kind of game client, the Ultima Online, which is something that Richard Garriott came up with back in the 90s. He's a very inventive guy. Now I think he's what's the latest game that he was working on? Shroud of the Avatar was his latest game, which has some mixed reviews, but it's a nice kind of continuation maybe to Ultima Online. So I'll give you a bit of like, since Jax is still in bed, he's looking at his phone. I see him on his sleeping stream right there. It's kind of buddy, when are you gonna stream? I have people for you that need to wake up from my more chillax voice. Come on, get up there. You can do this. Okay, so Ultima is one of the oldest role-playing games, and I think it's probably one of the first games that introduces the idea of an avatar, the idea that you have this character that represents you in a game, which is really cool. Narwin says, yep, indeed, show them a bit how to join. Yeah, I was confused when I started. Yeah, I always show people how to join. Like I did that at the beginning as well. And joining a role-playing world, it has some differences to joining any other game. It just requires an application. It's similar with GTA 5 role-playing, which is much more popular, so people will understand, the concept of being whitelisted, so being allowed to play in the game. So anyway, Ultima at first used to be a single-player game, and there were no MMORPGs. So this eventually, Lord British, as he's known in the game, Richard Garriott, created this game, and he came up with the idea back in the 90s to actually create a game with a massive multiplayer component. So you have, as many players as the server can hold, right? And so this kind of ushered us into the era of MMORPGs, and World of Warcraft is in this category, EverQuest is in this category. But in my opinion, Ultima Online is one of the most complicated and complex and MMORPG games where you can do almost anything you want in the game. So it's like close to a true sandbox. And back in the day, back in 2000, actually, I worked on one of these worlds, a place called Etheria Matrix Shard, where we made something like this world where you could conquer lands and then build on those lands and do whatever the hell you wanted. So you could start your own city from the scratch, actually build every tile every brick, make any building you could imagine, and give out lots of plans to people, sell them, or however you want to give them out. Tax them if you want to. You have guilds and stuff like that. So the complexity of Ultima Online is really found in all the more modern MMORPG games, except for one called EVE Online that has a very big sandbox ability to it. And then, of course, on Ultima Online, players that have then made their own versions of the game have pushed that even further. Like Requiem 13 Thrones that you can join right here is very much a sandbox. It's a place that allows you to, in a way, do your own thing. I mean, it's not going to be necessarily easy starting out, unless you could start out with a bunch of friends. Like if you join with like 10, 15 friends and you make your own faction, then things are going to be much easier. Otherwise, you can coordinate, collaborate with other people in the game, or you can join one of the existing factions and see how it's run. And there's also a lot of benefits and responsibilities for joining every faction. So you get access to housing, you get access to their stores, you get access to resources, you get access to a lot of stuff, and you get to play with other people. So you have friends in the game that can help you to, kind of like succeed in what you want in what you want to do. So I mean, after all, like these are very social games. So you can play this by yourself as well. I mean, you can just be a loner mage, a loner kind of sage person out there, or a loner hunter. Like some people, and my character started actually as a survivalist woodsman that grew up in the forest. So his initial tendency wasn't to be social, and actually how I roleplayed him 2 years ago, it was to be very shy. Like he's never been with a woman, and he's a guy who actually grew up in the forest, right? So he was very shy. He talked more to animals than he talked to people, so he interacted more with the animals. So it was a kind of like a cool way to start the character in my mind, because a lot of people make characters that are social right away, that are part of the town right away. And my character was always a bit of an escapist, a bit of a survivalist, so he cares about survival most. That's just kind of like his. Have you guys watched Westworld? I think Westworld is also a good way to understand this game. This is Westworld, right? So you create a character and then you have to roleplay that character the same way that people in Westworld, they joined the game and they became cowboys and this and that, and they had to stay in character and do quests in the game and stuff like that. This is very much like that. So to join, you need to basically make an application for a character, and what I often say is go to the forums. I already have the forums open here, and then you can navigate excuse me, to board index, then approved applications, find approved applications, then you can look at approved applications. I have this one open here as an example, and you can look at what other players have written in their application, how to actually get yours approved, right? How did they write the backstory? What's required then? What else do you have to write to actually get your character approved? Meanwhile, Shojak's finally starting to wake up. So I'm gonna give me a second. I'm gonna send him a message to let him know that I'm gonna raid him, and just ask him tell me when to raid you. And he's like, he still continues because he's still waking up. I'm sorry. Anyway, so the idea is you look at other applications, and you can get a lot of ideas about how to write a backstory. But if you want, you can actually just try out the game by going to, I just clicked on connecting, files and setup, and then if you scroll down a little bit, you'll find this thing called the patcher, right? So if you download this thing, it's the patcher. This will actually get the game, install the game for you, and then you end up on this screen, right? So it's going to download all the game elements. You don't need to do anything, and then once this is done, you actually you create an account. You come up with an account name, write down your password, because this will be your account once, even after you get approved. And okay, so Shojax needs to still shower and do his morning routine. So I'll still like go through the whole introduction. All right, so this downloads everything, and then you make yourself an account, and you can just log in, and then you get to actually see a different part of the game. It's not exactly this, but you see a different part of the game that kind of demos what it's like to play in this game, and you're not allowed to leave this location unless you have your papers in roleplay style, or you have your character background approved. I mean, it's not so hard to write a basic character to start out. The requirements for your first character are actually not very high, right? So it's designed to also get you into roleplay. You just have to make a decent enough background, make a decent enough motivation, like the psychology of your character, and then there's like a roleplay test where you have to interact for the first time in being your character with a part of the world, which is the people at the border, like the visa officers, right? Or the guards at the gate. You have a condition like that in your impromptu theater, in your, what do we call it, the gate crunk? Are you still here? I keep forgetting these small words. I'm like, my brain is like, yeah, okay. What do we call the impromptu theater, just to give that example? Oh, checking out mod stuff. All right, cool, man. Yeah, so then inside of your application, like I'll show you in this example, it's basically a test, right, to already get you to understand what roleplay is. So this character wrote on the background, the question, briefly state your character's intentions or motivations for entering the first province. And Alfida bears an intense hatred for the Republic. Alfida hopes to learn the ways of other cultures and of the venerated Inquisitions. She seeks to influence members of the Decuzan faith to apostasy. In the very least, she seeks to share the culture of her people with the world. Upon hearing rumors of the Elden relics and avenues of power, she considered the first province her best place to find the opportunity to hurt the Republic. So this is actually a very dark character this happened upon as an example. This is also kind of cool. She intends to learn their ways of medicine and mundane healing, to offer an invaluable service, both physically and morally. She could win their hearts with a silver tongue and a healing hand. So you see a character that presents one version of themselves to the world, and this is how you can roleplay a dark character. But underneath it all, you have ulterior motives, right? And then so you have the first roleplay scene that needs to be in your character application to prove that you understand how to roleplay it. And here she says, at the train yard, Alfida was shocked at the marvels of engineering. She found it very difficult to contain her awe upon the sights and smells of civilization so far from her people. She slept much of the journey, read as much as she could the rest of the ride. She was ravenous for new knowledge. By the time they arrived at the quarantine zone, she didn't want to stop her read. Reluctantly, she joined the throng of people presenting themselves to the Legionnaire. Patiently, she waited her turn. State your business and make it quick, citizen. We've enough bodies in there to keep us busy for years without adding yours to the pile. And those Vic are stirring up problems, something fierce as of late. Wrinkling her nose at this tone, she handed him her papers. I'm learning medicine, sir, here to help the Legion. This seemed to have the desired effect of softening the man, if only for a moment, as he waved her through. So this is like, in your application, it's like your first instance of roleplay, of being in character and actually acting out as your character would. So as I said, my advice is go through a few of the approved applications and look at different templates. Think about the character that you want to play. I mean, you can go and look at game wiki or skill compendium and look at all the different skills and all the different builds that you can have for your character. Again, I'm breaking the website because I'm zooming in too hard for you to read the text. So you have archery, axes, fencing, macing, wrestling. Then there's like stratagems, and these are quite a few of them that unlock different kind of fighting styles. So you have finesse, offhand tactics, so that's for two-handed attacks. Raging, that's like for going all in as a battle tactic. So they reveal their secrets on the bio and you roleplay not knowing them. Yes, no, you can't meta game, so you can't know information that your character won't have known. So your character only knows what's inside of the game or what's inside of the lore, but anyone can see the character applications to an extent. You don't have to write everything on the character bio for the same reason that some people might be unable to roleplay accurately, but you can write up to an extent to give people kind of like some idea. Like I can show you one recent post that I made, for example, that's very cryptic later. So then you have swords, polearms, which is what I'm using. So I'm using polearms and archery. That's my combination because it's using all some of the base skills that are the same. So that's two-handed tactics. Then you have throwing weapons, which is actually very cool. Like it's a very easy. It's like archery, so you're attacking things at a distance, but you're not using arrows, right? As an archer, my issue is that I'm always, I always have to like find a source of arrows, and I'm always mindful how many arrows I'm using. Is wrestling used in combat or just for AP? Oh, it's used in combat. Wrestling by itself is very effective combat, and you also have in the game wrestling weapons that are like special knuckles and gloves, or like knuckles with like Wolverine type extensions to them. It's a very cool angle. There's a few people I know in the game that use wrestling, and they're very dangerous because, as you understand, you can wrestle anywhere. You don't have to you don't have to brandish a weapon. You don't have to wield a weapon to use it. Your arms are the weapon. So you can knock people out anywhere. So I just gave away a secret about wrestling. Wrestling is very cool for that. Anatomy, it comes into healing your character and also understanding how to do the most damage to all the characters or other monsters or whatever you hunt out there. Then you have tactics that are used in all kind of fighting except for if you're a magician. Two-handed tactics that I'm also using. World lore is to analyze other items out there. And here you have talent skills are basically your overall gathering skills. So this is how you gather materials from the world. And the cool thing is you get a bonus in one of them. Like you can actually you have 100% skill points, or let's say 100 skill points for free. So you get a free gathering skill. And this is on purpose to make it easier to help your character to actually be a little bit more self-reliant, a little bit in the world. So every character can do one of these, can like collect either animal items from skinning, like hides and their meat and stuff like that. Horticulture has both your normal lumberjack and all the plants in the game depend on this skill. And then you have geology for your regular mining and stuff like that. But then you also you have your trade skills, and trade skills are most of what is known as crafting, right? So you have a very different one that you don't find anywhere else, which is agriculture. So you can actually just be a farmer in the game. And of course, agriculture in it has also the cooking skills. So you can be a farmer and a cook and just makes delicious foods in the game that give people bonuses. And this is it. You can just be an amazing chef in the game, right? Then you have alchemy, and alchemy makes all the potions and a whole bunch of chemicals. Also some of the bombs. Artisanry makes all the scientific stuff, like also all the artsy stuff. Like you can also make paintings. You can also make gems, and some of the gems and some of the jewelry, they give you bonuses. Give character bonuses, so that's your spiel there. Blacksmithing, I don't need to explain too much, right? So you make mostly weapons, swords, and stuff like that. You can also make armors, and there's like different specializations. You can do all those. Carpentry, you make furniture, you make bows, you make all kinds of stuff in that area. Engineering is very interesting. Engineering does so much in the game. Like engineering can do from complex weapons like pistols, it can do like medical equipment, it can do a whole bunch. It's like it does all the, they create all the tools for all the other trades, but also they have the ability to create public works, so they can actually make buildings, they can make public works, they can make bridges, they can make a whole bunch of shit in the game. They're very, 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 very necessary. And we need more engineers, because right now there's a shortage of engineers. So if you're looking to be in demand, people, if you're looking to make a killing in your business, make an engineer right now. I think there's a few tailors around. This is my second character as a tailor, and I'm playing a very dumb kind of tailor that's only interested in profit and treasure. It's like very simple, and he's not interested very much. He's interested in like making a killing in the game. It's kind of a very simple idea. You can make your character like that, or you can make your character kind of more communal, whatever. This is up to you. Then you have magic, and this is something that I don't remember too much about. I used to play a very strong pagan in the game that I think he was mostly pagan, general arch magic, but I'm not 100% sure. I remember that he was one of the strongest players in the game. Like I could take on probably half the server and probably make it away if I was really focused, if I was really like on top of it. But the problem is that magic, quite literally, even in roleplay, but also in how you play it as a player, that thing, magic requires a sacrifice, man. Like you really have to understand the mechanics. You really have to understand how you there's so many different spells, and to actually create an interesting attack, to create an interesting defense, to do cool stuff with magic, you have to understand so much of it. You actually have to become a super, like you have to be a very devoted player. You'll do a lot of reading, you'll do a lot of testing. You will come up with your own unique ways to fight. You will come up with your own unique ways to cast spells. The whole system itself is very modular. It's super modular, actually, so modular that magic is basically the Latin language, lots of Latin language words that come together to form ideas of spells. Yes, it's that complex. And then you utter the spells, and they have properties close to the ideas of their parts. And you can also do research, you can come up with new stuff, and in some unique cases, you can come up with new stuff, and the developers of the game put it in the game. So you have a huge influence. But this is not something for casual players like me. It's something for people that want the next level challenge, and they're going to be super into it. So you have to learn Latin. That's correct. If you want to be really good at it, it helps a lot to understand all the root words of Latin. I mean, you don't have to learn Latin, but you will have to write stuff down. Like this is a direction in the game where you break out the spreadsheet. You start to like have to write stuff down and like take notes and like figure out how to compose spells together, how to like do all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of work. It was too much work for me, so I decided this character I used to play. I think his name was Everett Radin, who like was the son of some kind of rich parents who used to like have a chain of libraries in the game, and they had access to a lot of knowledge. And if I remember like much of that background, he kind of like found this sentient tree who he interacted with and started learning about much more about the pagan worldview and the pagan way of things. And that's kind of how I started my magician. But it was so much work, and I'm a person that, as you know, Crank, I'm involved in so many projects, and I just don't have the time and the energy. I expend too much energy in a lot of different things, in politics and running different startups and working in technology and stuff like that, that I'm so exhausted. I just want an easy game to play. It's just relax and have fun. So I decided to kill off my character. Nobody killed my character. I actually just ended my magician. I decided, I'm just going to commit suicide or whatever, and just use the points. And I made my current character right now, which is this. Oh shit! I forgot I was in the game. Well, I'm going to go lay down for a bit, says Tulador. He got tired of me waiting for my response, so he just ran away. All right. Okay, that's what happens when you're streaming and role playing, people. This is what happens. But anyway, I'm hoping to get you more of you guys interested in the game. So it's a lot of fun, and it's free. You don't have to pay for anything, unless you really want to help the server. It's up to you. There's no requirement for a donation. And thank you again so much, MA1 Donado. Thank you so much for the $20. Like this has been my biggest donation ever. I've only been donated single dollars before. Like this is big for me. I didn't expect that. Thank you so much. So yeah, if you're a hardcore gamer and you're a huge nerd and you want the super challenge, you can make it a mage. But I still don't recommend it for your first character because it's just way too hard, man. Then of course we can't go anywhere without having rogues and thieves, right? And sneaky people that hide around and lockpick houses and steal people's hard-earned items and cash. Well, this is rogue skills, and how to. There's a lot of different builds that you can actually make for different kind of rogue type characters. So you have your general hiding and stealth. So hiding and stealth, more or less, is like you're hiding around in the shadows, and stealth allows you to move while hidden. So that allows you to actually move around without people noticing you. Except for people like my character, because my character has 120% perception. So, and he often like scans around for hidden items and people. So if you run into my character, he's gonna notice you, and you're gonna be revealed probably. Actually, the person that uses perception has the option of revealing the other person or not. This is also kind of cool. So you don't want, like, if the person hiding is in your party or is your friend, and you both have like some sort of like sneaky business going on or some deal or who knows what, you don't want to reveal your friends. So you can actually know that he's there. You can see him move around, but you don't reveal him to others. You don't say, oh yeah, look over there, he's hiding, right? Then you have, so lockpicking is something that somebody could pair with an engineer. So you make lockpicks and you understand locks, and you can start lockpicking people's houses and freeing them of expensive, interesting items that you can pawn off. Then you have stealing, of course, steal items even from a shop. Subterfuge, which actually allows you to even create traps, put traps down. That's a very unique playstyle. So you can actually like trap people into your traps. So get people to walk over your traps, which then would actually, do a lot of damage or might actually right off kill them. Then you have the new skills. So you can be a doctor, but also, hey, Shojax is back, guys. Get ready for one of the most high energy streamers, one of the friendliest Canadians, and a very good buddy of mine from Western Canada. I'll let him do the rest. Guys, get ready to raid the super high energy guy. I know I'm very low energy and chill, so get ready for kind of higher vibes and higher energy, but also give him some time because he's still waking up. So we're going to raid our buddy Shojax, and I want you guys to go over there and like lift up the energy and give him energy, because he's right now on his 5th day of a subathon, and he slept very few hours. And I've tried to keep my stream for as long as possible to let him sleep more, because Professional Sad Girl gave us a very nice raid to then also raid him and kind of contribute a little bit to his insane marathon and insane streaming hours that I don't know if I can ever get to. So guys, go over there and let's vibe Sojak's app. I'm already excited thinking about raiding Sojak's and not having to stream anymore. So let's go over there and raid Sojak's, guys. Go in there and let's put in some amazing energy to carry our buddy through some very long stream hours in this challenge that he's taking on. And thanks again for joining in.